It's still a long road ahead, but we're dedicated to keeping you informed every step of the way. Here on the EIB Election Hub, the blazing campaign trail will be uncensored and unfiltered. In this season, overflowing with promises, we will sift through each one to bring you the truth. This is the time for fierce and savage responses and an intense battle for the hearts and minds of the electorate.
That I want to say, inclusive, is that John Mahama can only be president for 4 years. But by the grace of God, Bawumia can be president for 8 years. Do we want it for 8 years or 4 years?
I've heard somebody say that 4 years, if somebody has 8 years, he'll be more responsible and accountable. And if somebody has 4 years, he will not be accountable. I mean, it's the most illogical statement I ever heard.
This election is a straight choice between two people, two Northerners. You have Dr. Bawumia and John Mahama. When we say we want to do something, they always say it is not possible. But it is possible.
You don't go saying, vote for me, and when I come, I will do this. You can do it now.
Mama Mistiano, Namin Chicano, Enko baby, I see a call.
The person himself says he's a driver's mate. He doesn't have a license yet. So he should work and get a license first. And then after he gets a license, he can come and we'll talk.
I have only been vice president. I have not yet been president. But I can tell you that as vice president, I've done more than John Mahama did as president.
You can fool all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
It's as empty as an empty barrel. When we meet mano a mano.
You say you rationalize taxes. 5 months to an election, you can rationalize this, enough time to rationalize taxes.
I am looking forward to a debate with John Mahama.
How can you compare this useless government that has led Ghana into such crisis to the government of Kwame Nkrumah? Chopper, everywhere, Ghanaians we're going to go there and send the message of NDC.
Many names will appear on the presidential ballot, but polls suggest it will be a direct showdown between the two sons of the savannah, Dr. Bawumia and John Mahama. Yet the question remains, will Alan Tremanting, Nana Kwame Bediako, or Hassan Ayariga emerge as a formidable third force? Well, we will never know, right, until the results are out. And very shortly, we'll be having a conversation on that. But joining me in the studio right now is Ibrahim Al-Hassan. He is the head of our political desk. Before I speak with Ibrahim, let's take a look at our official montage for EIB Election Hub 2024. Officially, this is our montage going into election 2024. We are your election hub. And you know that now you can scan directly with your phone to get news directly from us. Right. So we are your team. Well, part of the team that will be bringing you a very comprehensive coverage of the election 2024. You see me, you see Ibrahim Al-Hassan, you see Nadede Tete, you see Joshua Kojo-Mensah, and of course, you see Lantam Papanko. And there's Lily, who is on the ground, and we have the other team, and you'll be seeing all of us subsequently. But we, your election hub, you saw that what we did in 2016, you saw what we did in 2020, and trust me, you'll be more amazed at what we have in store for you this December. Let me speak with the head of our political desk, Ibrahim Al-Hassan. Ibrahim, what should we expect?
Well, this is the home of augmented reality, right? And as you mentioned, we did this in 2016, we did this in 2020, and viewers can be rest assured that we're doing it again. But this time around, revamped and much more reinvigorated, right? So we have a number of packages for our viewers and our listeners, and it is to help them make an informed decision come December 7th. Yeah, we are aware that some of them might have made up their minds already as to who they are voting for or as to whether they are voting or not. But what we seek to do here is to give them content that will make them better informed citizens. And so come December 7th, when they go to the polling station, they are well aware of the choice they are making and the implications therein for the country. So we have basket of promises. It's a package that you yourself will bring into our viewers and our listeners, and it sifts through manifestos. You are aware that the NDC, through its launch officially of its campaign, mentioned that it will be heading to the central region to launch its manifesto. As you mentioned this morning, the NPP is equally seeking to launch its manifesto in the Ashanti region in the same month of August. So once these manifestos are out, what you'll be doing on the show, that's basket of promises, is to delve deeper into these manifestos, break them down to the minutest of details to assist our electorate make an informed decision, because those promises will come. There are some of them that might not find their way into the manifestos, but once they are mentioned on the campaign platform, it's trust me here and the team to dissect and bring them. And this is aimed at just one thing: we have to hold politicians accountable.
Right.
We have to hold them by their words, whether it is printed in a booklet or it's just offered or uttered on a political platform. We'll do that. Again, the young people are not left out. They are always on their social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and what have you. Sometimes they don't watch what happens in the mainstream media. They don't listen to what happens in the mainstream media. They don't read. We're following them there with Gen Z's manifesto. And that is targeted at the young people, And it is to help them know that it is their future that we are seeking to secure, and that they will need to partake in the process that will give us a leader. Again, we have Campaign Uncensored.
Yes,
right.
And speaking of Campaign Uncensored, we have Nadede here.
Yes.
Who has all of the juice for
Yes, and Campaign Uncensored is a 30 minutes crisp program that is expected to let you in on what is happening on the campaign trail. So 30 minutes straight to the point. We're going to tell you whoever has been saying what and where. Is going to be unfiltered and comprehensive, and we'll look at the campaign trail during the elections with a focus on the activities of political parties, promises, and analysis of key issues. The show aims to keep the public well informed and engaged throughout the election season. So I, Nadede Tete, and Lily Mohammed will be here from August 1, which is just tomorrow, to Monday to Friday, 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Also, there's a reason why political parties also put out their manifestos, and it's for us to peruse those documents and get to know exactly what their plans for the country would be. Interestingly, Sawami here, I know you'll be going through the manifestos of the political parties. So tell us more about that.
Well, I thought that you would tell them about that and then tell me about that. I think that Joshua should tell them because I've been talking a lot.
Right,
Yeah?
so it's basket full of promises, like Ivy said earlier, and it's dedicated to digesting the manifestos of the various political parties. On the show, we will unravel the pledges, the policies, the promises put forth by the different parties, providing viewers with a very comprehensive understanding of their vision for the nation. Now, each single episode of Basket Full of Promises will focus on one political party's manifesto. So through expert analysis, we are looking at interviews and visual aids. We'll break down the key points, the initiatives and proposals outlined in the manifesto. So Basket Full of Promises is airing every Sunday at 7 p.m. So make a date with Sewa Ami here. She will be making sure that these political actors will be clearly held to what they put out in their manifestos. John Dramani Mahama announced on Saturday that on the 5th of August would have the NDC launch their manifesto in the central region. We'll also be hearing from the NPP to get to know exactly when we'll have a manifesto from them. But ultimately, Sewa Ami here will sit down, go through it, every single detail, the fine brushes. We'll get you everything that they're saying in their manifesto, and we'll hold them to it so that when they come to power, they will not tell us that, you know what, we said it, but we are governing in a different way. This is what will happen when we come to the Basket Full of Promises. Interesting. But Lantam Papanko has more to tell us on our programming for the elections. Lantam.
Well, many times there are lots of boomers and millennials who make decisions for us, and sometimes without really considering us, and not anymore. Gen Z Manifesto is a dynamic and engaging television show that is going to delve into expectations, aspirations, and concerns of the youth as they look towards the future of the nation. With the upcoming election 2024, the show aims to give a voice to the younger generation, exploring their perspectives on various political, social, and economic issues. I mean, it's more than just a show. It's actually a platform for the youth to express their dreams, their demands, their desires for a better future. So be a part of it. Stay tuned. The conversation is going to definitely shape the future of this country, and I'm pretty sure all of us are very excited about these raft of programs that we're bringing to the viewers as we're launching the EIB election hub today. I don't know which one particularly excites any of you. I saw IB beaming with smiles when he was talking about the basket full of promises. Joshua was also beaming with smiles. Are you looking at the promises? I'm pretty sure you've already heard a promise or two which tickles your fancy, eh?
Well, exactly. Like I said earlier, I mean, this is a political platform, and we are inching towards a very crucial election. Now, this particular election has been described as one that we've never seen before. I mean, a former president contesting, like, sitting vice president is going to be interesting. And then a businessman, and then Alan Chemating, and the others who may join in the coming days. So, yes, promises will be made, lofty ones, of course, but we'll definitely get to know exactly. So I will dissect those promises, and then we'll get to see those that are attainable, and we'll give time frames and we'll hold them to it. So I'm really excited about that.
You know, with what I just talked about, you know that a lot of people who are in the new generation, those they call the Gen Zs, a lot of them are going to be voting for the very first time.
Exactly.
So that is a block, a political block that a lot of the political parties will be looking to capitalize on and capture, because they are quite a lot. And if you're able to get these people, you increase your chances of actually winning the election. So that's why we really want to focus on the youth and what the youth are thinking and what is important to them. You know, in this digital age, a lot of them are always on their smartphones going through TikTok and, you know, Snapchat and all of that. So it'll be interesting to also see how the political parties capitalize on that and what kind of messages they are going to be sending through social media.
You're right.
And you remember that in the 2016, you know, campaign where Nana Akufo-Addo and the MPP were very heavy on digital tools employed in the election. They were raising funds, they were sending a lot of messages on social media and all of that. So, you know, and the Gen Zs are really savvy when it comes to these things. And so it will be important for us to hear what they've got to say, what their thoughts are, what their opinions are, and what they are looking forward to from, you know, our leaders.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, it's quite exciting. And I mean, I listened to Musa Dankwa, and one of the things he said was that any political party that is able to capture the first-time voters will have an edge going into the election. So what are the things that are relevant to the Gen Zs? Long time, are you Gen Z or?
I'm a millennial.
Okay.
I know you're a millennial too.
You can't know for me.
I know.
I want to subscribe. I identify as Gen Z. I identify as Gen Z.
You identify as Gen Z.
No, because you see, the youth have so much energy, and there's so much they want to talk about, so much they want to expect. And these are not people who are generally acclimatized with what has happened in the political space for, say, the last 20, 30 years or so of our democracy and all of that. So it's interesting to get to know exactly what will inform their choices, and that's why we'll be doing the Gen Z Manifesto.
I don't know what now identifies us. Do you identify as a Gen Z, a baby boomer, generation X, or what?
Well, I'm definitely a millennial. I don't think I will exchange it for anything. I mean, we cannot take pictures without a peace sign. So, you know,
it's a baby
boomer.
Yeah. Baby boomers,
they're the ones
who came before
they are parents.
Millennials.
Oh,
Baby boomers are our parents.
Oh, so they are baby makers.
Yeah. Those who came before millennials.
Yeah, so
Is IB a baby boomer?
IB is not our parents.
That's a good one.
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
But
so,
it could be.
Ivy is a baby boomer. Yes, now it's saying.
I mean, I identify as a millennial. I wouldn't exchange it for anything. And you've talked about the basket full of promises and talked about the program, you know, directed towards the Gen Zs. You know, a recent survey by Afrobarometer indicated that support for democracy is declining. And they noticed that the younger people are leaning towards, you know, let's perhaps try the military rule, because they are not seeing the benefits of the democracy, and they have not lived the harsh circumstances of a coup as well. So they are thinking that it could be an alternative they are considering. So this is where the political parties need to convince the Gen Zs that you need to stick with us. You need to stick with democracy, because that is the best way to govern. And if they don't find creative ways for the Gen Zs to believe in them and believe in this, our democracy, which many people say is in crisis because the democracy is not functioning, they're not going to get their votes. So they have to find very creative ways. They have to find themselves on Instagram, they have to find themselves on TikTok, on Facebook, wherever they are, and take the messages to them. Without that, I'm sure they're not going to get their votes.
Right. And we also have to link to Lily Mohammed, and she's going to be talking about something called The Public Square, which is an election television program designed to foster lively engagement among the electorate in various constituencies all across the country. So we'll bring together candidates from different parties, you know, and we aim to provide voters with a platform to hear diverse perspectives, compare policy proposals, and make informed decisions. So my colleague, Lily Mohammed, is standing by with more. Lily, what's up?
It's a beautiful morning, and we're live from the BAM Library here at the University of Ghana campus. Now, I'm sure you're wondering where this is. This is in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. Now, this is home to about 90,000 voters, and 20,000 out of those voters will come from this area known as the Legon electoral area. Now, it is an elitist constituency, but a number of them are bougies. A number of them also are from the slums. this. What will inform their choice of vote? Who will they vote for? Will the NPP remain dominant here in that constituency, or the NDC will seek to rewrite history? Now, mind you, the NPP has won 6 times in this constituency, with the NDC winning once. That's somewhere in 1996. Will the history be rewritten this time around? I've been joined this morning by some communication officers of the NPP and the NDC. They are with Tain and GHOne. Bismarck and Peter join me here, and they will tell us what will inform their vote this morning as we head with just about 130 days to the polls. Who will they vote for? Are they keen that the policies have sunk deep into their minds? Are they convinced that whatever Lydia Sayo Alhassan has told voters will resonate with them so that they will vote for them? Or John Seto Dumelo will be the man for them? Good morning, Bismarck. How are you?
Good morning. I am fine.
I hope you're doing well. Are you poised for the elections?
Of course I am. And I hope by the grace of God everything is going to be okay for Madam Lydia Sayo Alhassan.
You're sure?
Of course I am sure, because she has really demonstrated everything, and it shows that we are supposed to give her the mandate to continue the good work that she's doing.
What makes you so sure about Lydia's win?
What makes me too sure is when it comes to the University of Ghana campus here, the kind of things that she's been doing for the students, it's very marvelous. Sometimes most people who do not even know her always feel like coming to just transfer their vote so that they can vote for her, because in the middle of the semester, this woman is so poised to the extent that she will come and then present even foodstuffs to most of the students, knowing that during the middle of the semester, most students are maybe lacking some financial problems or some other thing. So all the time, she always get closer so that she can do something special for us, and then make sure the students are also enjoying, so that we are not going to drop out. Because when students are going through the problems of financial issues, most students turn out dropping out from school. So this woman, knowing all these reasons, all the time she always makes sure she come back to campus, especially Commonwealth and every single hall on campus here, communicate with us just to know the problems and challenges we are going through, so that she can help us. So she really demonstrated a lot, and then we are all ready to vote for the woman.
And you're sure you're giving her majority of the numbers that she deserves?
Of course we are giving, because looking at 2016 during the election, she won 32,000 votes, and then in the year 2020 it doubled to 39,000. It shows that she is really getting the passion from the people, and we are having the love for her. She's not someone who is just there without working. She's really demonstrating, and looking at the people of Ghana, we all want the best for our country. Therefore we are always going for someone who is special and who can represent us better.
Absolutely. Well, let me hear from the Tain people. Peter is here. Peter Boateng is the Deputy Communications for Tain, University of Ghana. Peter, Bismarck says he is sure that Lydia Sayo Alhassan will retain her dominance here in Ayawaso West Wuogon. Is that what you think?
Well, I think when we are looking at critical issues such as this one, we have to look at facts and figures. From the previous election, we've seen that Dumelo has closed the gap by a very wide margin. I think the difference was about 1,700 votes.
2,000.
Okay. And I think most of the votes comes from this campus. That is why our focus is here. Now let's look at it. This time, our Honorable PC has pledged a room-to-room engagement, or a personal engagement encounter.
He has pledged, or he has started?
He has even started. I've seen him, and we've been on some with him. What has he done for the students? When we look at this particular constituency, I've been here for the past 3 years, and most of the pressing needs of the people are infrastructure-wise, sanitation, and security. With the security issues, we've seen incidences of people being attacked by robbers and all that, because there are poor lighting systems on campus and even around lab violation and others. But Honorable Lydia has not been able to solve some of these problems. Ironically, she is also the Minister for Sanitation and Water. And so if you are the minister and you've not been able to solve the needs of your people, Laobaleshi is one of the filthiest places in Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and she's not done so much about it, then it tells you that there is a big problem. In terms of infrastructure on campus, this university some time ago used to house a few students, but as we talk now, we have about 70,000 people on campus. But this is the same hostel infrastructures that is housing these same people. We have majority of the students being non-residents. The question is, has she been able to advocate for affordable hostels? Has she been able to advocate for new hostels to be built? We've not seen any of that, and some of us have to come as far as Kaswa to campus, and you know the traffic around those areas. What Honorable Dumelo is pledging is that when he comes to power, when he's given the mandate, we are going to be seeing him advocating for new hostels to be built. And aside that, through the 24-hour economy, his constituency is going to be benefiting from agro businesses. So he's going to empower the youth to go more into agriculture. You put that aside too. He's going to advocate for the creative industry. You know, he's an actor. Absolutely. His background over there. So he's going to advocate for the youth to go into creative art industry. So we are seeing a man with a message, a man with focus, a man with vision. And he has pledged that Ayawaso is going to be different when he is given the mandate. He's not only saying it, but he has started doing it. Recently, he donated security equipment, motorbikes to Legon Security. He is not having the power yet, but he has started doing that. He has given laptops to students. He has helped people pay their fees. And you can see he cares about the people. This is someone we want to lead us. Enough with Honorable Al-Hassan. She has been given the power so many times, and we are not seeing the difference we want.
Well, this will be how many times? Second term?
Yes, please. So 8 years is enough to do something. 8 years is enough to do a lot. If you are given 2 terms, every president have only 2 terms to do something. And so if you've been given 2 terms and we've not seen changes, it is only right that we change you.
Now, Bismarck, let me come back to you. He says that his candidate, John Dumelo, has a message. What is the message of Lydia? Well, if she's been in power for the past 8 years, what is that unique selling point that will encourage other colleagues of yours who are floating voters to want to vote for her?
Okay, thank you very much. Looking at the woman, she's always passionate and then ready to help the people on campus here. As I said, you see, the statement my brother made that she's not doing a lot is just an insult to the people, because for someone who came, the people voted for her, 32,000. In the year 2020, it went to 39,000, and you are telling me she's not doing anything. Then it's an insult, because you are trying to tell me that the people do not look at maybe good policies or something. But then the people of Ghana are always passionate to look at whatever you are doing good, then we base on to vote for you. This woman is someone who has paid a lot of fees for most students on campus. I always say John Dumelo is someone, if you ask almost maybe 80% of the students on campus, they only know him as an actor. You understand? We don't even know that he's going for any position, because he's not doing anything to prove such. Okay, so we are always passionate to collaborate and rally behind Lydia, who is doing a lot for us, because she has really done a lot. If you look at the constituency, water problem is not anything that people are always having issues with.
Sorry to cut you. One of the critical things he talks about is the issue of security. For you as a student, it is critical, is it not?
It is a critical issue, and she has not abandoned that issue. Day in, day out, she's collaborating with the leaders of the school to provide essential security for the people of University of Ghana. So it's not something like maybe she's not doing anything at all. She's really helping a lot. And when we talk about security, security is not solely about providing light or something. Security personally for you involves money. You understand? Because if you are on campus, if you are on campus and then you don't have money to provide certain things that you need for yourself, automatically you will be dropped out. But then this woman is providing all this for the students, and it shows that yes, she's not abandoning the security aspect that we are looking for, we are talking about. So she's doing a lot.
Okay, so well, I'm sure you know that I'm a feminist. Let's listen to the feminine side. I've been joined by a woman. Hello, young lady. How are you? My name is Lily Muhammad. What's yours?
I'm Nanajwa.
Okay. Nanajwa, will you vote in this constituency? What will inform your choice of vote?
So far, this is my first time voting actually, and as it stands now, in terms of the parliamentary candidates for this constituency, that's the Ayawaso West one. I've just been informed about one of them. I know the other party, but I don't really know her laid out policies and stuff like that. But then with the other one,
who is the other one?
John Dumelo.
Okay.
I know.
Do you know him because he's a popular man? He's been on your TV.
No, I think I know him because I've seen what he's doing around campus, what he does here. But then I've not really seen anything, from the other one. That's Mrs. Lydia Al-Hassan. So as it stands,
if you say you've seen what he's been doing, what has he been doing?
So I think the last time one of the hostels on campus, Diaspora, did not have water, and then he provided them with water. And then even though the making of the voters ID was something by the government, I think he brought it down to our doorstep, and then even me, I was able to be able to register for my voters ID. So and then many other things. He has been able to provide motorbikes and other things because security here on campus is a bit shaky. So I feel like I've seen quite a number of things he has done on campus. It's not like he's just saying it. But then with Madam Lydia, I've not seen or heard anything from him. So maybe if she comes out with her policies, maybe it's going to affect my decision.
So for now, you will vote for, if elections were held tomorrow, you vote for John Dumelo?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Thank you very much, my darling. Well, you heard her. She says she will vote for John Dumelo. Let me engage more people. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name?
My name is Livingston Ajman, and I'm the communications officer for GHOne.
Okay. So talk to me. Your colleague has spoken at length about why John Dumelo should be given the nod. Going around, you have interacted with your colleagues. What do you think will make your colleagues vote for John Dumelo?
Okay, so first of all, there was a statement that was put by my colleague from the other side who said that in 2016 the woman had 32,000, and that is absolutely a falsehood. In 2016, it was actually the husband that was on the ballot paper. So that was just a simple correction that I wanted to do. Okay, so the consideration or the things that I think the students of this great university will be looking at, they are going to look at a member of parliament or a parliamentary candidate in terms of reliability, in terms of accessibility, in terms of proactiveness, who has it all. When we talk about John Dumelo, every university student on campus will attest to the fact that when it talks about reliability, who is more reliable comparatively, when we talk about accessibility, and also when we talk about who has the interest of the students at heart, it is John Seto Dumelo. For me, the only thing that might let the woman is what we call the monetary enticement. And if you go to campus and you ask of the students, the only thing that our member of parliament currently does is that she will come to you and of course will entice you with in monetary terms and all that. But we are talking about a man who is promising a secured and a better future, a better conditions of environment for students of this great university. This is the man, John Seto Dumelo, and I'm hopeful that coming 7th December, the people of this great university are going to elect him as the member of parliament, and he will be the member of parliament, and he will take the interest of the students in this great university at heart.
Okay, Lewis, now come back to you. Let me engage more people. So I have engaged you, Bismarck. Let me speak to your colleague. Hi, good morning. My name is Lily. What's yours?
My name is Mbawin Obed Mbabila. I'm the traditional horse committee head under the organization 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what will inform your choice of vote? Obviously, you vote for John Dumelo because you are within. But what specifically will make John Dumelo stand ahead of Lydia Seyomal Hassan?
Okay. Now, Ghanaians are growing. The youth are growing. The long talk will not help. The youth needs action. Yes, per my own observation about John Dumelo for some years now, he is a leader that will deliver. From his full setup, you see the vision of delivery. The youth are tired of money in politics. John Dumelo cannot buy your conscience. But if you look at the things he's putting up, not even in power, you realize that he's going to be a leader of change. Let me bring it to a university context, because this university is located under the Ayawaso West Wagon.
Absolutely.
Yes. If you come to university, the student can attest to the fact that John Dumelo is the best man for the job. Looking at the security on campus, my other colleagues have made mention of that, but I want to throw more light. He's not in power. He's able to use his own resources to purchase motorbikes to aid the security on campus, for security men to get access to motorbikes to patrol on campus, to make sure the security on campus is very strong. And since then, we've realized that the security on campus is somehow stable. Besides that, When there was a fire outbreak at Commonwealth, though it was not all that, but he was present. That shows how he's passionate to serve the people.
Have you heard something they call after election no campaign? Is this not all in a bid to win your votes?
It is never true. Sometimes when you look at their vision, you can differentiate people with that mindset from people with the vice versa.
Okay.
Yes. Comparing it to John Mahama, you realize that he's a man that when he says it, he delivers. Not people that will lie. Not people that will influence you with money.
You're laughing. I'll come back to you shortly.
Not the influencing people with money. Because with the NDC, we believe that we cannot buy your conscience. We believe in action.
You've been talking about buying. John Dumelo cannot buy your conscience. NDC cannot buy your conscience. Is it to say that there's a lot of money changing hands on the university campus?
Actually, I can say yes. Yes, and I stand...
From who?
I don't have to mention it, but it is clear.
If
can attest to that fact.
The viewers cannot see. I'm not sure any viewer has seen any money. Viewers, have you seen any money exchanging hands now?
We are on the media, and the people that are watching us can attest to that fact. Yes, we believe in action. When there was a shortage of water at the diaspora hostels, John Dumelo ordered, in fact, he supplied water to the students. But we didn't see that from our current member of parliament. Though we know they'll be busy with their parliamentary duties and all that. But sometimes you need to show up to let the people know that, in fact, you really cares for them. And
are you saying that Lydia has not shown up in any shape or form on this university campus?
She has, showed up. But not enough. We expect more from her. But she's not doing it. John Dumelo is not in power. But he's doing more than her. She has the resources. She's a member of parliament for the constituency. She's appointed as a minister for sanitation. She should do more. But we don't see that. But we see the vice versa.
Hold on for me. Let me hear from this man. Listen, man. He says your candidate has done virtually little to nothing.
That is a big lie. When you asked him that has the woman delivered or not, he himself just attests to the fact that she has done a lot. You understand?
Can you give me a list of things that she's done in the constituency, particularly on this university campus?
Coming to the campus, as I always say, most students here, we are lacking financial issues. Financial issues is a big problem on campus here. And this woman all the time pays school fees for a lot of students that I know. You understand? If I am to mention names of these people, I think it's going to take the whole day, because the number of people that they have benefited from this woman when it comes to paying off school fees, it's a lot, including physically challenged people and a whole lot. So they are just lying. And when you even ask them what John Dumelo has done, the only thing I saw or I heard the two of them saying was that he came here to provide them with water. Let me tell you, there was shortage of water for just maybe 2 days or something. Then he came to provide water for them for just a day to take their bath. You call this a big achievement that you've done? This is a big lie. You see, someone who is not being able to pay school fees at the level of maybe level 300 or level 200, someone who has no hope to the extent that that person is even thinking of being dropped out from school, then for me to come and then provide school fees, provide food and even accommodation for such a person, then you tell me I've not done a lot, then that is a big lie. You understand? Because if you call such a student here and you ask them, someone who provided you with water to take your bath and someone who paid your school fees, gave you accommodation, gave you food to stay on campus, between these two people, who are you going to vote for? Automatically they are going to tell you that yes, we are going for the woman, because this woman is known on campus here. You only see John Dumelo on campus doing maybe an entertainment when Sarkodie is coming here. He will just come and perform. That is all. But this woman we know is not doing that thing. He only comes to campus when there is the need for him to come, when there is something that he is supposed to come and address. So the lies that they are throwing is just to maybe deceive people. But since I am here, I am never going to allow them do that.
He says whatever you're saying are just lies. Can you substantiate that indeed John Dumelo has been present in the lives of these university students?
The youth, as I said, we are the ambassadors of change. And I repeat, the youth, we are the ambassadors of change, the revolutionists. We are tired of the too much talking. come December 7th, Ghanaians can attest to that fact. In fact, 7th December is going to be the second independence of Ghana.
Really? Yes. How so?
The second independence of Ghana and first in history. The people cannot buy our conscience. When they come to distribute money, the people will take it, but they will go and make the...
How much money do they distribute?
In fact...
To each student?
I can't mention that here.
But you've said it on record that, well, a lot of exchange of hands when it comes to money is involved. How much money are we looking at?
I don't have to mention this. But let me
well, I want you to mention it. I want to hear from you.
No, I can't mention it. It depends.
Okay, I'll give you the opportunity.
Yes, it depends. There are people that when you give them 50 cedis, they'll go and deliver for you. But we, the NDC, we don't believe in vote buying. And we believe we can't buy your conscience because you are too expensive to make the right decision for yourself.
Okay. Yes. So he says there's been a lot of exchange, money exchange on the university campus, some 50 cedis and above. Has your candidate been distributing cash to your colleagues or yourself?
Oh, thank you very much. You know, that is a big lie. Honestly, if you are to mark us today concerning what we are discussing, I think automatically you are going to give them zero. Because, you know, you cannot go to the court and win a case when you don't have any fact to substantiate whatever you are saying. These are all claims just to, lie to the people or throw dust in the eyes of the people. Just ask him that has he ever received any money from any of the candidate or a woman? No, it has never happened. You only see a woman giving money to students when they need it for accommodation, when they need it for payment.
How much money are we talking about?
That is, sometimes he gives 2,000 and above to pay fees of students. He gives maybe 3,000 to some students to say concerning their issues of accommodation. You understand? When you are lacking school fees, this woman can give you maybe 5,000 if that is what you are supposed to pay. She will quickly come and pay for you. So if you are talking about the fact that she's giving money to students, yes, that is true. But giving money to students to vote for her, that is a big lie. You understand? So I am not going to lie to the people. They all know the truth. If you ask almost 80 or 100% of the students on campus, they are going to tell you that this woman all the time will be on campus, provide money for the student. And she's giving you this money to pay your fees. She's giving you this money to go and maybe pay for accommodation. She's giving you this money to go and buy food or provide some foodstuffs for yourself. That is true. That is totally true. But for her giving you money to maybe just go and vote for her, that is a big lie. And honestly speaking, if you are someone who even takes money to vote for a candidate, then I always say it's an insult to your own intelligence, because we all want the best for our country. So why would I go and take money just to vote for a candidate to come and lead me? At the end of the day, what are you going to do for me? But if you are able to pay my fees for me, if you are able to maybe provide some things that I need that are going to be very essential in my life, then automatically I'm going to vote for you, because that is what I want, and I will base on that to vote for you. So they are just throwing lies or dust in the eyes of the people, and we are not going to allow them to do that.
Well, we're live from the BAM Library here at the University of Ghana. The stakes are high. This and more is what you should be expecting on the election hub as we officially have launched. But let me hear from more people. Good morning to you. My name is Lily Mohammed. You're live on GHOne TV. What is yours?
My name is Ali Dusedu, popularly known as Jiwa.
Jiwa, will you vote in this constituency?
Please.
Who will you vote for?
I'll vote for Ma Lydia.
Why?
I'll vote for Ma Lydia because she is able to help students when you attend to, when you have problem, and when you attend to him, he will know how to address the problem to you, and he's like inclusive leader. That is, he accepts everybody's opinion. So I really like such people. So I'm ready to vote for him, do campaign for him.
Well, some of your colleagues here say she has done nothing, especially in terms of security for students. What do you say to that?
Oh, that is very, very wrong. Unless you don't know the woman well. She is doing more. She is doing more. And I know so many students.
More in terms of what?
In terms of academic, when the need of accommodation. In case of if you don't have money to offer your accommodation, you're able to, if attend to her, he will help you. So she do a lot. She do a lot. So
based on that, you vote for Lydia?
Yeah, I'll vote for my Lydia.
Okay. Thank you very much. Listen, there are a lot of things on the chest of people. I'll still engage more people if you have the time. But let me hear from you. You said you had a rebuttal earlier.
Yes. You asked a question. What has she done? And then you can see all of them are mentioning money. Because that is all she has done. You know, one of the things, or I said, pressing needs of the people, we are looking at infrastructure. We lack accommodation on campus.
Okay.
Majority of the students are still non-residents. Security is also a problem. Okay. And then sanitation. Looking at Baulishe in focus. And if you are telling me that...
Especially as we're in the rains.
Yes. If you are telling me that she is solving the needs of the people, I am trying to look at some of these things. At least she's solving problems in these categories. But you only mentioned she's paying school fees. This is something GHOne Dumelo has been doing since 2012. They are all doing that. So what sets you apart? We are all paying school fees. So what sets you apart? Are you looking at other problems of the people, such as infrastructure, security, sanitation? No, you're only paying school fees. Look, when we talk about this woman in our hostel sometimes, she's called, in quotes, "Are you hungry?"
Really?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Because when she comes to you, I had a personal engagement with her. She had a chance to convince me as a voter with policies to vote for her. And then the question she asked me was, "Are you hungry?" So we don't want people who tend to solve temporary problems. You can give me food to eat right now, but what about my pressing needs? That is what we are looking at. So yes, students know her on campus. Yesterday she was at Legon Hall to give food. You are giving food to voters to vote for you. That is not enough. We want people who solve our most pressing needs. I need accommodation on campus so that I can be comfortable. This morning I had to leave Madina to this place, the traffic. Okay, I had to take Okada, which is very expensive. That is a pressing need. Solve problems of people. We are tired of the "Are you hungry?" question.
But is food also not a pressing need?
Food is a pressing need, but it's a temporal thing. Okay, I can eat now. Okay, but in the evening I'll be hungry again. Give us jobs. And that is why GHOne Dumelo is saying, through the 24-hour economy, he's looking to expand the job sector in this community through agricultural youth empowerment programs. So he's looking at more youth going into agriculture. That will solve the problem eternally, because now I have something doing and I can feed myself. Don't come around telling me, "Are you hungry?" and giving me food to eat, which is a temporary solution.
Okay, so you heard from some students of the University of Ghana. They say that they will vote for either Lydia Sarah Malhassan or John Seto Dumelo. But are you convinced, those of you who live in this constituency, if you're part of the 90,000 people who will vote for either John Dumelo or Lydia Al-Hassan, are you convinced that your policies have sunk such that you give them the nod come December 7? But let's engage a Deputy National Organizer for the NDC, Osman Yariga. He joins me. Good morning.
National Youth.
Deputy National Youth Organizer. Well, I have elevated you.
I don't want to take someone's position this morning.
Well, how was Tamale?
Oh, perfect, epic, splendid. I mean, it was beautiful. And I want to thank the good people of the North, especially Tamale, for coming out in their numbers organically to grace the occasion of the campaign launch. So we're going to hit the grounds running. We've already started campaigning. We're going to start engaging communities. And of course, we're going to sell the good message of John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. Not only the 24-hour economy, of course, which is a game changer. And that's why we're looking at how to reset this country, reboot this country, take it back to its days of glory and not what we are currently experiencing. Of course, we are looking at how we can find jobs for the 1.9 million unemployed youth of this country. We're looking at how we can put the youth at the helm of affairs, how we can put the youth at the center of governance, how the governance is going to be about the youth, for the youth, and by the youth. That is what we're looking at. I mean, receiving rice and oil is not just what we should be looking at. We should be looking at the future of the youth. We should look at the future of the country. We should look at our own future. As they already said, if you take the bag of rice, 5 kilo, and 1 liter of oil, by the next 2 days, we'd have finished eating the rice, we'd have finished eating the oil too. Then you come back to your current status. So we should be looking at a leader who is out to transform Ghana. We should look at a leader who is out to help us build the country you and I want. Look at a leader who is transformational, a leader who has done it before, who is here as a result of his experience and not an experiment like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying we should try him. We tried Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when he came begging us.
We have tried John Mahama as well.
Yes, and you will bear me out. That is John Mahama's 4 years is far better than the 8 years of Akufo-Addo. At least he didn't build a biggest hole with $58 million. We didn't find a minister of sanitation who was expected to clean the country, and especially Accra, with $1.something million under her bed. So, we can go on and go on and go on with the uncompleted infrastructure, developmental projects, the way the economy has been managed abysmally, etc., etc. The good people of this country are experiencing it. You are experiencing it. I am experiencing it. You understand the high level of unemployment, the general despondency, the general desperation, the hunger and the anger in the young people and the old people as well. They have seen it, and they have tasted water, they have tasted alcohol, and they know the difference. They have tasted John Dramani Mahama, they have tasted the MPP, and they know that it's better for them to get back to John Dramani Mahama. And that is what the people of this country will do on the 7th of December 2024. And I believe you will also vote, and I believe clear in your conscience, and undoubtedly you vote for John Dramani Mahama, because you're also a Ghanaian and you're experiencing the hardship.
Well, I am undecided yet, but we were talking about John Dumelo and Lydia Al-Hassan. Do you think that John Dumelo, you talk about the youth. He's a young man. Lydia is also, she's still considered a young woman. Do you think that the people of the University of Ghana campus particularly are well informed to vote for John Dumelo come December 7th?
Absolutely. I live in this constituency, although I don't vote here, and I follow the conversation. I listen to the narratives, and I'm more than convinced that the people of this constituency, especially University campus, are highly and hugely disappointed in Ma Lydia, because all she does is to bring them oil, rice, and sometimes water to their rooms. That, just vote for me. If you're hungry, take this food. I mean, if you need school fees, I'll help you pay. But it's not just about giving people rice and oil and water. It's about giving them good jobs. It's about giving them sustainable jobs. John Dumelo, even though he's not yet a member of parliament, is providing jobs for some young people through his agriculture, through some other businesses he's doing within the constituency, and how he has encouraged young people to even go into agriculture. This is already a transformational leader. Today, Madam Lydia is a sanitation minister, and if you drive around East Legon, Baoleshi, West Legon, thereabout, you see huge fields. You remember in the last election, John Dumelo brought excavators to desilt most of the gutters, and Ma Lydia fought him hard. So we are expecting by now East Legon should have been one of the cleanest areas, especially areas of Baoleshi, Mimpasem. If you go out there,
okay. So I'm sure the people of Iwasu West Wagon has heard you. That's Osmayaga. He's a deputy national youth organizer for the NPP. You had some members. Hey, my goodness! Why am I changing names this morning? For he's a deputy national youth organizer for the for the NDC. We've heard from the NDC young people here. We also heard from an NPP communicator here on the University of Ghana campus. My name is Lily Muhammad. I'm handing over to Joshua Kojo Mensah. But for you out there, just know that we're ready. In about 130 days, we go to the polls. We are ready to give you around-the-clock report, around-the-clock analysis, and all that you need to know about December 7 general elections. Once again, my name is Lily Muhammad. Joshua Kojo Mensah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Lily Mohammed, for getting that conversation ongoing on the campus of the University of Ghana. Quite some interesting views being shared there by the young ones there, the future generation. These are the people who will take over leadership of the various political parties that we have here. But let's come back in studio and have a conversation, because like we said, this is where the elections will be held. Definitely. Whatever action happens on the field, in here, we'll make sure that we'll do the analysis for you. And I've been joined by wonderful people. And let me quickly go to my immediate left. We have Musa Dankwa. He's the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. And he has joined me in the studio this morning. Musa, how are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
You've been busy. And you look like you'll be getting busier going forward.
Yes, it's getting scarier for me.
It's getting scarier?
Yeah, in terms of busy. Yeah. A lot of planning has to be done on the tee and get the guys in the field at the right time. So it's not been easy, but we are managing.
So it's scarily busy for you.
Yes.
And are you sure you're able to make time for yourself? Because we need you to be able to get into the elections and then do that.
Not only that, I also have my own job I do as consultant. So to combine that with the polling, it's been hectic. But we've been doing okay in terms of resting. I sleep a lot. I sleep very deeply as well. So. Even if it's 3 hours sleep, I think I'm able to sleep very well. Yes.
Very well. All right. We also have Dr. Palgrave Boachi-Dankwa. He is the government spokesperson on governance and security. Palgrave, welcome, Doc.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm very well.
You know, I'm still getting used to adding Doc.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But how has it been?
It's been good. Our flag bearer, our Haji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, has been doing a constituency to constituency.
Right.
Over this month, we've been to Yagaba Kore, we've been to Goshegu, we've been to Karaga, we've been to Tamale. We've done a number, Yepe and Yendi. So we're doing very well.
Right.
We are poised for Musa Danquest's predictions to predict us as the viable option for the Ghanaian people.
Well, we'll come to the polls because what was done in June does not necessarily put you there, but we'll see how it goes. But let me come also to a man that I'm sure most of you have not heard from in a while, and now he's come back, and then there's a difference there. On Saturday, he was busy, and I'm sure that he had divided attention because he was also focusing on what was happening in Tamale, but then he was also earning his PhD. Dr. Samuel Ofoswampofo, welcome, Chairman.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well.
Well, by God's grace, we are doing very well. And as you said, my body was in Accra, and my spirit and soul was in Tamale. Following what was happening there. Very fantastic show of support for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. We put up a very good show there. Our message was very clear, very, very focused. President Mahama knows exactly where he wants to take this country to. And for me, that is the most important thing. Credible leader, a doer, builder, and a very pragmatic person whose track record will speak for itself. So I believe that the battle lines are drawn, and we believe that as the campaign has been launched and we move into top gear, because he has really energized the base of the party. He has charged the party to move in and engage in very aggressive retail campaign, not necessarily big rallies, not necessarily, recycling people from one constituency to another constituency, and the same people move from one constituency and they are showing crowd. That is not it.
Because there's been that argument that even in constituencies, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been able to pull more crowd than the national launch of
No. Anybody who says that is making a mistake. Tamale, best to it seems yesterday. Tamale was, I know Tamale. I know the strength of NDC in Tamale. Anybody who comes to tell you that the national launch of the NDC has been surpassed by a certain constituency launch is being dishonest. And we need to be very credible in our arguments, and I don't think I'll buy into that at all, because I know that even if it is not a national launch, and you decide to go and do a rally in Tamale and bring the 4 constituencies, the Tamale South, Tamale Central, Tamale North, and then Sanerugu, and you decide to bring them together, no park can contain them in Tamale. So people should not mislead others. We must have some credibility in reportage, because anybody who tells you that Bole Bambwe or some constituency campaign, the number of people there is more than a national launch in Tamale, that person will not be credible, and I don't think we should buy into it at all. I don't believe in using crowd really as a yardstick for measuring who wins an election, but I think that for purposes of credibility, whoever reported that one should bow his head in shame, because it cannot be true. I was not there, but I'm saying that it cannot be true, because I'm speaking from experience.
And talking about experience, you have managed campaigns. In fact, you have run campaigns for the NDC. Looking at the energy this time around, you say John Mahama has been able to energize the base of the party going into the election. We know that next month, in August, you'll be launching your manifesto as well in the central region. And I'm looking at all that is happening so far. What would be your take on that?
The country itself is energized for change. It is not the NDC base alone. No. The whole Ghana, the country is energized. I speak with people from broad spectrum of the society, and people talk to me. I am able to gauge the political atmosphere. I am not Musa Dankwaso. I can't use statistics. But I can gauge the environment, the political temperature, the pendulum of our politics and the way it is moving. And I can assure you that the quest for change in 2024 is unstoppable. because the kind of people who call me to beg me that we are relying on you, the pastors whose collection booths are now very empty because of the harsh economic reality, the youth who are looking for jobs and cannot get it, the market women who are struggling because of escalating prices of goods and services, the business community that are wobbling because of the dancing nature of our dollar. The dollar is dancing like Baumia is dancing. You know, you can't even determine where it is going today or it's going tomorrow. And so when Baumia jumps, then the dollar jumps. When it jumps tomorrow in another constituency, then the dollar jumps. So the man who has been put in charge of the economy, whom President Akufo-Addo told the whole country that I carefully selected the person because of he's a genius. He's a messiah. He's the economic whiz kid who is coming to turn the fortunes of the economy around. Has decided not to talk about the economy again. Has run away from debate on the economy. And today, look at where the CD is coming from. And I want to remind Ghanaians that when Nana Akufo-Addo was introducing Dr. Baumia, at that time, the CD to dollar was about 4 cedis. I mean, give and take, striking the average between 3.8 to 4.2. So let's say 4 cedis. And they said that, oh, when Kufo was there, $1 was 2 cedis. John Mahama came, $1 is 4 cedis. So I've gone for an economic risk kit. The man who worked at the Bank of Ghana before, who says that he knows where the money is. So he's coming to change. And in about 100 days, he came and told us that he has performed one of the miracles, maybe, the next to the miracles that Jesus performed, that he has arrested the CD. And he has given the key to the IGP. And that the CD to dollar, ratio will remain stable and our CD will grow stronger and stronger. Today, he took the CD he's taking the CD from 4 cedis to $1 to 16 cedis to $1, plus minus between 50 and 60. And so the man is running away from it.
But the argument is that it's not solely due to what is happening inwardly. External factors have also contributed.
External factors have always been there. It is not today. External factors, exogenous factors are always there in the economic environment. But ask yourself, go to Cote d'Ivoire. We and Cote d'Ivoire, we are in the same enclave. Go to Burkina Faso, go to Togo, just our neighbors, go to Nigeria and check the inflation rate there. They were all affected by the global situation that we find ourselves in. So, and then it is the same Dr. Baumia who stood on platform and said, is Ghana an island of its own? And that, why is it that there is a global economic situation and it does not affect Cote d'Ivoire, and not affect Togo, Nigeria, and it jumps to Ghana and only affects Ghana? So you see, when you are speaking, he has to go back to his words. Okay. For this election, for me, the NDC campaign is very simple. Play Dr. Baumia, what he said, and what is happening today. Everything that he said he was going to do and what is happening today shows that he's not credible. He's a failure. We cannot entrust the destiny of this country into his hand. He doesn't have the experience because, as the late Amisata said, the former vice president said that politics, economic is not about classroom lectures. And so he gave all the lectures, and then came out with all the theories and said all the things that he wants to say. Today, you should go to Malata and ask of tomatoes price. You should go to Malata and ask of the onion price. You should go to Malata where he was calculating his inflation figures from. You should go there today and ask the people what is happening.
Right.
I think that Dr. Baumia, as chairman of the economic management team, has completely failed this nation.
Okay.
And I'm surprised that the MPP decided to use him as their flag bearer. So he has nothing to offer. He has demonstrated that he doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the expertise. He's very theoretical. He doesn't have the hands-on to solve the problem, as opposed to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has demonstrated capacity to manage, capacity to govern, vision. Whatever he does he knows where he's taking this country to.
Okay.
So you can fight for the steer, but when even as a bit, you couldn't even help the driver the way to navigate the distance, and then you are rushing and fighting for the steer. He went to Techima and they were giving the steer to him. But they have given the steer to you at the time that you were almost 1 year to the election and still the chairman of the economic management team. So if you have anything to do between that time and now, prove to Ghanaians that as now I'm even the leader and the flag bearer and the chairman of the economic management team. So submission from this period. But it has been proven that even within this period that Dr. Bawumia has been almost a year to election, has been the leader, the flag bearer, and the chairman of the economic management. He has no clue as to how to solve the challenges facing this country. And Ghanaians should not make any mistake at all in returning him because it will be a disaster for the country.
Okay, Palgrave, so the NDC on Saturday noted one thing, that going into the election 2024, it's a battle between truth and deceit, and they are on the side of truth. The MPP is on the side of deceit.
Joshua, it's surprising, really, for John Dramani Mahama, who has had many opportunities in this country, first as assemblyman, then as MP, as minister, as vice president and president. He is one that you would want to think that he understands Ghana and could have been able to solve most of the teething challenges that we're facing the Ghanaian economy and the Ghanaian people. Indeed, I listened to their campaign launch. I observed that the name of the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party was mentioned over 88 times.
Oh, you counted?
I did. Over 88 times. Surprising that the threats that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia proposes to the NDC is very real. Dr. Bawumia has been a very faithful gentleman. He has kept to one of his most core values. When I refer to his thesis he did about digitalizing the Ghanaian economy, when he assumed office and he had conversations with the president, especially when he launched his vision statement in February, stated very clearly that the president gave him his blessing to be able to digitize the entire Ghanaian economy. And anybody who understands the economy would come to bear that the number of interventions that our government has put in place with having a cashless economy and a cashless society is very key. And it borders down on a number of things. Mobile money interoperability. You recall many years ago, you need to find a blue umbrella, a red umbrella, a green umbrella, and a purple umbrella. And a yellow umbrella has become a thing of the past. Just by a tap of your phone, 24 hours, every single time, you can be able to send money to people. Last week, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, made a proposal to Africa Union that the continent should consider mobile money interoperability. So the schemes that we're putting in place from a local Ghanaian perspective is gradually becoming a continental dream and vision. None other president or leadership has been able to propose that. If you look at, and I will make a reference to some of the digital platforms that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been able to put in place, we talk about our drones. And you look at this country to be one of the foremost countries in the world delivering drones by medicine to rural communities. We talk about hospitals. We've digitalized every single hospital in this country, such that the file system has become a thing of the past. Paperless ports, we've digitalized that. Birth and death, we've digitalized that. Passports, we've digitalized that. And so, with running a cashless society, with a man who understands the Gen Z, and I know that with your election hub system,
we do have
you have a Gen Z manifesto.
Right.
With a man who understands the Gen Z, with a man who will be able to sit around the table to be able to churn out ideas for development partners to be interested in your country. I propose to the Ghanaian people that on Saturday, 7th of December, 2024, they must make a decision of their future, not a decision of their past. We don't want a leader who has come before, who couldn't achieve his own purposes and desires for the Ghanaian people, to want to come again and take us back into the dungeons. We have known that from 1992 till date, every single government that understands the economy is the government of the New Patriotic Party. From President John Agyekum Kufuor to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and incoming President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I think that first and foremost, this will be the first time that would have an economist leading the helm of affairs at the presidency. And I mean, the Honorable Dr. Ofosu Ampofo is aware that in cabinet, the various subcommittees serve as advisory committees in working out on the deliverables from the president, which is why Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has stated that there needs to be a relook into our constitution again, because it absorbs too much power. And so when it absorbs too much power, like we know, the ball stops with the president. And so Mahama cannot be isolated from the challenges he took this country through. But if you look at the goals and the desires and the aspirations and the vision statements that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is putting together, you can be rest assured that this country is going to steer in the right direction under his leadership.
But even talking about that and the fact that yes, there's so much power that is conferred on the president, and then the vice president does not, in fact, cabinet just works on what the president says. But the president said he had handed that part of the economy to him. Dr. Bawumia is the one who is handling this part of the economy. Is that not what we're told?
Everyone is aware that cabinet works in subcommittees. So there are about 6 subcommittees of cabinet. There's the economic committee, there's the governance committee, there's the security committee, there's the infrastructure committee, there's the social services committee, okay, and then there's the legal committee. So these 6 subcommittees is what cabinet works in. And then they have chairpersons. Now the chairpersons deliver on the mandate of the president. Remember, anytime the budget is presented on the floor of the House in Parliament, it is the president's budget that the Minister for Finance presents to the floor of the House. So it's the economic policies of the president.
Right.
And I can agree, you see, because if you look at the foundations and the legacies that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has struck from 2017 till date, it is upon this foundation, that very good foundation, solid foundation, that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is campaigning upon to deliver the Ghanaian people on the promises that he is making now.
Is it campaigning on the legacy of the current administration?
Absolutely. There's no way that we cannot campaign on the legacies of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And I've seen, look, many of the digitalization initiatives, there's no guarantor system now. Students can go for loans with the Ghana card, the one constituency, one ambulance, you are aware, the zipline drones, Agenda 111, I can let you know the various stages of completion of the Agenda 111. There's a Sino-Hydro Butter Agreement, there's the provision of the Hydro Euro under the NHIS, the sickle cell, there's a Zongo Development Bank, there's the Bank of Ghana Gold Purchase Program, there's the Gold for Oil Policy, there's the abolishment of filling and embarkation and disembarkation at the airport. Now it's become a thing of the past. There's the Go Right taxi service for local taxi drivers and many more. These are things that
we saw that were put in place but did not continue at a point. Gold for oil, for instance, are we still doing that?
Absolutely. Gold for oil is still ongoing. Absolutely. The gold reserves at the Bank of Ghana, the Central Bank of Ghana, is increasing, which is the thinking of this government.
Right.
So for me, when I look at the future of Ghana, and I look at the trajectory, and if people will be honest enough with themselves, I think that there's no way John Dramani Mahama should be given another opportunity, because the opportunities that he's had are too many, and too many of them he's not been able to actualize them to the many admiration of the Ghanaian people.
But his message is that, well, he's taking the back seat. He's seen clearly what is not working well, for which reason he needs to come and fix it.
You know, a bad marriage is a bad marriage regardless of how many times you come back to it.
Okay.
I think that the Ghanaian people have had a bad marriage with John Dramani Mahama. And I don't think that the Ghanaian people want him again.
Okay.
But the decision will be made on the 7th of December. And I'm confident that with the narratives that we are churning out, with the successful implementation of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's policies from 2017 to date and to the end of the year, definitely, by the grace of God, I am certain that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be the darling boy of this country from 7th January 2025.
Okay. Well, so we've heard from the political parties, and the ultimate poll will be on December 7th, when electorates go and then cast their ballots. Counting will take place, collation, we'll get to know, then the announcement will be made. But Musa, you have been working in the space, trying to let us know what Ghanaians are thinking, based on what they tell you. In June, you released the latest poll.
That's July.
That's July, rather. You released the latest poll. Has anything changed thus far?
From July to now, we can't tell.
We can't tell.
Because we have to go back again to see what they are saying.
And when next are you going?
We're going back. We have several polling that we are currently doing in certain constituencies, in certain regions. They are not national tracking poll, but the tracking poll will be released early October.
Okay.
We'll start towards end of September and finish end of September. It will be released in first week of October.
Right. So take us back to the July polls, and then how the dynamics have changed till July.
Before July, that was the April poll. John Mahama was on 54% roughly, and Bawumia was on 35%. That's two main candidates. But in July, Mahama dropped to 51%.
Right.
And Bawumia goes to 38%. So that was the period that he was going around the country campaigning. So certainly you should expect some bump in the poll after going around. But when you trace the source of the decline for Mahama and the gain that Bawumia made, we realized that Mahama lost about 3% or 2% of his numbers to Cheddar.
Nana
Kwame Bediako. So for him, I think that must be a good news because he can't lose them to his opponent, this Bawumia.
Right.
And then about 1% went to Bawumia. But largely, Bawumia's 2% came from Alan Chiramatin. There were voters who were voting for Alan Chiramatin, who were MPP voters, who have switched camp now to vote for.
So they've gone back home.
Gone back home. Now the issue is, the question is, how fluid is going to be the relation between Bawumia's numbers and Chiramatin numbers? If Bawumia gains, his gain will come from Alan. If Alan gains, his gain will come from Bawumia. That's what we have seen in the polling numbers. And for Mahama, his loss had gone to Bediako, which is much more fluid young voters. Now, these were voters who didn't tell us which party they support. In that period, Mahama dropped about from 50% winning among this group to around 49%, about 9% drop in that number. 8% of that 9 went to Bediako.
Wow.
And so Mahama's numbers are going to Bediako. So for him, it may not be of a bigger threat than if they have gone to Bawumia, because those people will not come back if they go to Bawumia. But when they go to Bediako, even in the case of runoff scenario, you see that a chunk of Bediako guys come back to Mahama. You can see the alliances when you do a runoff scenario that Mahama against Bawumia, and see the behavior of those who were voting in round one.
Right. Right.
And from the analysis we have done, about 52% of Alan supporters will go to Mahama, and 48 will go to Bawumia, which means that naturally Alan guys are from MPP. Now, if you take Nana Kwame Bediako, that's where it gets a bit tricky. About 40% will vote for Mahama, about 10% said Bawumia, but a chunk said they won't vote. So there will be apathy among the Bediako voters if it doesn't make it to the second round.
Quite interesting. Well, we'll come back and talk more about this and how all of that will play out. But one of the things that I need you to know is that today's coverage is going to be exciting. And so what you see on your screens now would be where our next segment will be coming from the top of that building. That's where we're bringing you our next segment on this particular coverage in terms of our launch of EIB Election Hub. So that's a drone shot there on your screens to let you know exactly where the next one. Sewa Ami here will be sitting there with her guests also right after these conversations that we're having here. They would also bring you a conversation from that particular building. And so it's an exciting one that we are bringing you today as a result of the fact that we are launching our campaign. We are launching the coverage of the 2024 general election. So let me come back to you, Musa. Now, in terms of what is influencing voter choices, you're smiling already. The economy sits on top.
Yes, I mean, it's across the country. Economy number one. Number two jobs. Number 3, education. Number 4, you have roads, infrastructure, roads in the communities are top 4 issues. But generally, broadly, it is economy, the jobs, and the education.
Right.
Now, certain regions would depict different level of support. When you go to the Bono area, for example, education is the top compared to jobs and economy. So you must understand which priority, which voters' priority is in this region and that region and that region. So when you get there, you can connect very well. If you behave as if you are in Accra and you go to other areas, you will be disconnected because what you'll be talking about may not be what people are really eager to hear from you. So they must really watch that. But broadly, it's economy, the most highest economy, followed by jobs,
job creation,
and education. So any campaign, whether DMB or GM, if we are proposing anything that you can't pivot back to these top 3 issues, I think you'll be disaligned with the voters.
And it's quite interesting because on Saturday we heard GHOne Mahama saying that job creation will be high on his agenda. He's also talking about a 24-hour economy that is also going to boost economic growth and all of that. And that sits closely to what we are being told. Dr. Bawumia is also on tour telling people that, listen, this is what I have done in terms of the digitization that we've talked about. I've digitized the economy to make it easier and seamless for us to be able to transact businesses and all of that. But generally, how are the electorates responding?
You see, you have to analyze the responses of people who believe in digitization, and those who believe in 24-hour economy, and those who believe in GTP, and how they are voting.
Right.
First, we ask them which of those big flagship things do they support. About 42% support digitization, majority of voters support digitization. About 35% support 24-hour economy, sorry.
Right.
And then 35% support digitization. About 7% support GTP. Now, when you look at who do you want to vote for, then you see some people supporting digitization by voting for GM. Some support 24-hour economy by voting for Bawumia. But overall, the 24-hour economy is liked by many voters, and they are voting for GHOne Mahama because of that. And Bawumia too, those who like it are voting for him. Now, there is a sharp contrast between even the age divide when it comes to digitization. You realize that there are a lot more older people supporting digitization than the younger people.
Interesting. Older people are rather supporting digitization.
Yes.
They're enjoying it.
You know, I think for some of them, maybe what they used to go out and do, they cannot do it from their home. And also, the reason why maybe younger people are not backing that policy is that their priority is jobs. Unless Bawumia is able to link that digitization to job creation, to connect to their problem, then it means you have provided a solution that is not a priority for the voters, those people you are targeting right now. For them, it's about jobs. So how is your policy of digitization able to create jobs for them now and in the future? If we cannot do that, there will be a disconnect between that policy and what the youth are looking for.
Right. Interesting. Well, let me come back to Doc Fusompofo. As it stands now, we are less than 5 months away from the general election. And the latest Afrobarometer report points to the fact that we have a lot of the teeming youth who are now moving in. In fact, they seem to believe that military rule is better than the democracy we are practicing. For which reason, if there should be any change, then the military should rather take over. Boxing that with election security and how we are preparing towards it. What would be your observation so far?
Well, first of all, let me just react to a few issues that my brother raised.
Okay.
About digitization and what has been done. See, the whole world is going that direction, and you cannot be an exception. So whether you like it or not, you need to get on the bandwagon for digitization. But let me suffice it for me to say that the backbone of the digitization was put in place by John Dramani Mahama. He actually made sure that the fiber optics, which is virtually what transmits the digitization agenda, was put in place. he managed to get the fiber optics all the way from the south here to the northernmost part, the uppermost part of this country, and created the environment. He built the Accra Digitized Center, which actually is the hub of digitization. So if somebody is leveraging on the very infrastructural foundation that have been put in place by John Mahama, you cannot say that he's the one who laid the foundation, and he's the one who can really put up the superstructure in such a way that the foundation can support it. So it will not be a problem at all for John Dramani Mahama, who is a communication expert, who was a communication minister, who introduced mobile telephony and all those things there, and who in his wisdom decided that, look, the first thing for us to do is to build the backbone, the infrastructure that will enable us to leapfrog as far as digitization is concerned. So, that is the message people should always get. Then again, like Musa was saying, if you cannot link this digitization with job creation, and you are increasing, the young men and the young women are suffering because of the increases in the price of data. And so even for digitization, the person doesn't have a job, and you have created a digitized environment, and he cannot even go to the bank to draw money at the end of the month. So it doesn't make any meaning for him. Right. So I think that we must be very practical in this matter. He was just rattling the policies. You see, the MPP is full of sloganeering. Full of sloganeering. Right. One district, one factory, one village, one dam, planting for food and jobs. But in policy, as he knows, when you do policy, there are two critical things that you need to look at. You look at the policy outcome and the policy impact. So if you have introduced one district, one factory, and industrialization is not experiencing any growth and people don't have jobs, then what is the outcome and the impact? Okay. Planting for food and jobs, where prices of food, the food inflation is one of the highest. And today, even yam is becoming an essential commodity. We are importing tomatoes, we are importing even the guinea fowls that they keep on mocking President Mahama that he was introducing guinea fowl. Now importing guinea fowl from Netherlands with huge foreign exchange. And so you have all these things, planting for food and jobs, and the food production has gone down, prices of maize. I am an agriculturist. I have been in farming for over 25 years. For the first time in my life, my poultry farm has collapsed for the past 2 years because the inputs that are necessary for the growth and sustenance of that poultry industry is not. I know a lot of poultry farmers who have closed their poultry and they are not doing anything. I am in crop production, and you go to a farm place, I have farms there, and go and look at the number of farms that have collapsed. And so what is the policy impact and outcome of the programs and then that they have introduced? So I think that the debate must be taken a notch higher to look at the policy impact, the policy output, and the policy and what it has been able to do for the good people of this country. Right. So I want to debate him, and then we take the policies one.
You debating Mano a Mano?
Yes, no. So that because he rattled all this, and again, I also want to explain something. And Pedro, if you are in governance, the presidency is not about President Akufo-Addo. The presidency is an institution. The vice president is part of the presidency. So you cannot delink the vice president from the president. When today he's looking for power, and you are saying that, all the power has been vested into the hands of Nana Akufo-Addo, the president. The presidency is not about Nana Akufo-Addo. The presidency is about an institution, and it is made up of the president, the vice president, the chief of staff, his cabinet ministers. They form the presidency. So you cannot say that now you want to become you said you were a mate and now you want to become a driver. So all of a sudden you are detaching yourself from the presidency. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Nana Akufo-Addo are the two people that were entrusted. So on the day of swearing of oath, you see that the president swears the presidential oath. The vice president swears the vice presidential oath, because in the absence of the president, the vice president becomes the president. So there is no way that you can say that, oh, the constitution has entrusted this. It is not in Nana Akufo-Addo. It is in the presidency.
Right.
And the presidency is made up of the two people who swore the oath of office, the oath of allegiance to the good people of this country.
Okay.
So whatever is happening today, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is part of it and cannot extricate himself from the challenges that we are having. All of a sudden, he's running away even from e-levy, where they have to even rent a private jet to go and bring people, and then did all sorts of things. Promised the whole Ghanaians that e-levy is a panacea to solve all the challenges that we have. Now, Dr. Bawumia says that when I come, I will do away with e-levy. I mean, this is a complete failure. Now, let me come to the issue of national security. It is very dangerous for the youth to be thinking about, military intervention. And you see, I don't also blame them, because the political class is failing the youth. And when the political class begin to fail the youth, they try to look for some other alternatives and to go back to history and to see things that have happened and this could have been done this way. I believe that democracy is still the best option for us as a country. And we must use the ballot box to change. What is happening is that they are losing interest and confidence and trust. You see, the trust deficit between the governed and the governed today is the biggest problem that we have. And it's as a result of the maladministration and mismanagement of the country economy by Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia. That is why the youth have lost trust. So the trust deficit is huge. And so they are beginning to ask themselves, are we real? Are we to go with these politicians? They come to inform us this is the way they want to do things and turn around to do the other things. But President John Dramani Mahama has actually given a ray of hope to Ghanaians that he is a man who lives by his words. And the thing that he said he will do, he does it.
All right, Chairman, land for Mr. Let me, so I bring
now
the conversation.
The security issues is critical as we go into the election. You know that the last election, we have a number of casualties. About 8 people died during the election. And before then, the issue of Ayawaso West Wagon came, the issue of vigilantism came, then the promulgation of the Vigilante Murder Related Offences Act was put in place. Everybody thought that this was going to address the issue. And at the end of the day, we had people in the uniform shooting live bullets and killing people and doing all sorts of things. It's so the debate now must go beyond to look at what is the role of the security agencies in the election. What are they supposed to do? You know, the security agencies are there. They are state security agencies. That is why recently people are worried about this whole idea of some security people being recruited without going through the due process and other things. We have a lot of information to give out.
I know, but can you remember for me so that?
So my worry is that the president is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and head of all the security agencies. The president who is supposed to assure Ghanaians that systems will be allowed to operate, and at the end of the day, the wish of Ghanaians will be respected, stands on a platform in Kumasi and introduces the running mate to their campaign and says that I am not prepared to hand over to the person that I succeeded. I know the M. Masu. The commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces is saying that M. Masu. The word M. Masu means that it will not come on. Why? Is he not taking the right of self-determination from the ordinary people and determining?
Is that what the president is doing?
Yes, that is what he said. You can play it back or say, me mandi obedi madieno, because for some strange reasons, even the introduction of the flag bearer in Kumasi, everything was done in Twi. So I want to go back to Twi to quote him. Say, me mandi obedi madieno, enye obi amedi to me ebeman emaso. And this is the commander-in-chief of the presidency, emaso. It will not come on. It is almost like staging a coup against democracy on that platform.
Okay, so let me make Papa go in quickly.
You know, one factory. has struck a lot of success. We have over 157 one district, one factory.
Do you have some in your district?
I have it. Yes.
District,
I have.
Me and you come from Achim.
No.
So let's take Kukrantumi.
No, let me mention. Allow me to mention.
Because we are really hard pressed.
Okay, Birim Oils Mills Limited. They are processing palm oil into edible oil. It's at Kwabi Birim Abiem. Casa de Ropa Company.
You share this with me.
Yes, they are doing sweet potatoes.
Right.
EKA Food Limited processing vegetables.
Right.
There is Fenza Industries processing coconut oil. There is New Vision Agro processing shea nut. There is Inkulenu processing food, marina, premium. Oh no, some of these.
The point really is because we really need to go.
Yes, that's but then you see. Some of these one district, one factories, there are existing companies and industries that were ailing that government supported, and then there were some that government also started. And so when I'm listing all of these, it's important that I mention that. I can share the data with you. But over 157 one district, one factory that is yielding the impact and the fruit of it. The data.
You have 30 seconds so that we can wrap it up. Unfortunately.
In 30 seconds.
Yes, in 30 seconds.
No one should be interested in military regime.
Right.
We have had too many years of backwardness over 2.5 decades of that period. And people recount their stories of solitary confinement, of not being taken through the legal means. We don't need that. Young people that are calling for that don't understand it. And so it's important that we don't call for that. But you see, when President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo says that the election of 2024 is going to be won by the New Patriotic Party because he believes that the campaign that we are doing, the Ghanaian people are listening. And the Ghanaian people are going to vote. When the Ghanaian people vote decisively for Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the president-elect of the Republic of Ghana, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will definitely hand over power. However, if the Ghanaian people vote for John Dramani Mahama, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will hand over power. But we are confident that the Ghanaian people will vote for Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Musa, 10 seconds.
I think it's a very great concern that young people are thinking of a coup d'etat. But there was a survey we did when the junta took over power in Niger that had over 55% of Ghanaians supporting that coup.
Wow.
So we need to work hard on democracy, make it more appealing, make it more attractive to young voters. The way we are doing things right now, I think they are getting a bit despondent.
Well, I wish we could continue this for a long time. Unfortunately, that's how far time would allow us, because we also have to go to the regions. I mean, we are going to the Upper East Regional Capital, Bolgatanga. We're also going to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, to also bring you a feel of our coverage there, because our coverage is going to be nationwide. Every nook and cranny of this country. We are combing every part of the country, all the constituencies, all the regional capitals. Every single place will be captured as part of our coverage. And so my colleagues have joined me on Zoom. Musa Lansa is in Bolgatanga, and then Isaac Justice Bediako is also in Kumasi. Musa, so how is Bolga shaping up this morning?
Well, Joshua, we're currently in Bongo Soin, in the Bongo constituency, which is part of the campaign tour of the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has been touring the region from Friday. He's visited so far 9 constituencies, and he's going to be wrapping up tomorrow with some other constituencies in the region. So today, he's doing Bongo constituency, Nabungo Central, and then Chana Paga constituencies. And he's all the places he's been to, he's been talking about his vision for the country if he's given the opportunity to lead the country. And key on his agenda has been education, digitalization, setting up of mechanization centers. And lately, one of the things he's been talking about is the credit scoring system, which has created a lot of conversation around his policies. He says people don't really understand what he means, but he will try as much as possible to explain what the credit scoring system is. He's visited paramountcies in the area where he's met with the traditional rulers. He's met with the Sandem Nab. He's met with the paramount chief.
And clearly we are on the grounds and also very mobile. We are not static, and that's why Musa is in the vehicle there, letting you know how much premium we are placing on making sure that we get you all the information that you need to have. But let's go to Kumasi. Isaac Justice Bediako is on standby for me there. Isaac, how are you doing this morning, and how is Kumasi responding to our launch this morning?
I must say that currently we are at the Santase roundabout Goy Polling Station, where taxi rank the drivers come to pick passengers. That's where we are at the moment. And of course, we will engage some of the people here to find out from them what exactly will inform their choice of a president or who they want to vote for as the president of Ghana. When I came here in the morning, it was clear that yes, the drivers were not happy with how things are going on in this country. They are talking about high cost of fuel price, talking about high cost of spare parts, the hardship in the economy. They think that it is seriously biting them, and they are not comfortable with the development in the country. So we engage some of the drivers and find out from them what will inform their decision to vote for any of the presidential candidates that the political parties are presenting in this election for one to be considered as the president of Ghana. Open me patch your frozen. Kwablen Kruma. Kwablen Kruma. Abaya yebetu bijini sa ubetubi.
Abandi onu ya no kwase me kase betu abana pa dia na me da abandi amento.
Ani nawo. Ade intra.
Twaba. Abana metu amehunu adie bia ebeboa ewo abato no mu. Ma menye example bi nchiro. Number 1, abana mento abano ha. Mekumkum na kwakoto abano. Me flat to my amantia eben carry. Me kwa faso yakoto abano. Ekwa ninye. Number 2, meto fu e dem diako. Beto no so boarding. E di hu yasa me to petrol boarding. E go fa kwanfo ekoto aba. Enti abano pa de me nya ba go beto aba.
Na one to aba ye be denya leader move to se obetimi aba na wa be boa o man de ne nhyehyeye ne na mamu ehun ne ma be ba be boa yin.
Bro, and kwasam abana ye to no benefo to ba ma omo kwa omo nwene ene atimamufo no ho omo mo ho e omo dwene ma men ka sam jana na me tie program bi no mo ka president mama e bi o kan ye o say ministers no ba obete so e say ministers omo dosu minister bia obeto ka mienu na ama no the bro ti o ma ye ho kire yen e ko bro bosia wonko fo close na ko yi minister akoto ka tu mana na odwene ye ne ye ho abla ya kwan nye elite nsam nye no mpanifo bo mo nwene ho ka esi no ba wisu no ele hia mo. Number 2 yes ye to ka ma minister to ka pani bia 4 years yes abo ka no washing ama say ni pan ka no bo fofofo na ba na ko no vazo ba nti pa o ma to ba mo no o mo nwene ye ne ho o mu ye di no mo dwene hu hia se me fa ka bo de ne ko fa kwan fon so ko to ba bla me nya paso bia every so ba na me
na chese wo de wo ba mabu
anu kura ba de aba ka me to aba pa dia na me dada me aba na me nto ne e china ka me nto vida matu bebrebe me nya paso bia free so.
Well, this man seems very disappointed simply because he's not benefiting from voting for people to be elected as president and MP, so he will not vote in this election. And his concerns are that nothing seems to improving in this country, and from how things are going, he will not vote in this election. Let me engage these gentlemen. What's your name?
Joseph Intijenfi.
Joseph. Abaya yebetu ubetubi.
Acho me de davi me ntaba. Personally, say ye ka say about one me mostly ana me susu say ye koto aba na e yana ye wish ne say ye beyi panyina o ba be di oman so oberima oman no impuntu akosoro, but e yana me hu say me hu faso bia ye yi san panyifo no a omoba omoye man, because mostly ye yana me cancel yena na buy yena na intimate for education all right, but other sector ni bi ha omu advantage and as important e wona na so sanso na obi for so ba president for so ba omu so mu that advantage e wona so intime me dey to me ne dey me menya madwen say meto aba But although me call other presidency election now, MPP are good, NDC are good, other parties are good. So those who are wishing to vote no, they are a good say on betu. Inti wa the party are defending say Ottoman, you can go on, but the MSN say ye to abani real and talk pasem ne to trasem ne they should reduce it. And one am working with us.
Thank you. Oba Mawusa Osre. Abai Ubato. Ubato bi.
Oh, abani je. I just say abandi. Ye nto aba Ghana ha. Because empuntu obi ni Ghana ha emeblu ni ye bre pa ye bre. Insi ye de I just say ye to aba na ye hu fa so bia. E busia na ye gba de bi o man de ka ba ye timinya ska ye campaign. Insi ye hwe aba we say de niam mu aye de no. So benye ska ye campaign na say bibisa. Because emebu na e bre dodo ye bre.
Ese adwuma be na we.
Me ye adwuma ya Central Bank. We me jiji suman 9050 na patu anwumle saa. O ye buy blue moja ni, o ba brass signs nka adwuma me san ka ya brocha na ba bia. E ka bi sika beble. O ba me ai teme to kwan.
So wo dwane akọ.
Obi nya isisi a me pasho meko. Ya bra o me mudodo. Ndi say about one day ni nje hu biem.
Well, I must say that Joshua, I mean, this woman, lady is telling me that she has also lost trust in the politicians and he don't see the reason why he should vote. As a youth, she's looking for opportunity to, get employment after completing her education, but she's not getting it. Now she's always roaming around. She worked with the rural bank as a Susu collector, and she's going through a lot. So she thinks that the government has not helped her situation, and for which reason she has decided not to vote in the election. Madam, good morning.
I don't know so back as
yeah, but na abaya betu ubetu bi.
Oh, me dey mento.
Won so want to.
Dabi.
Na higher Ashanti regional.
Almost shabo mundi so.
Bobe na ya sha ya ni so anu nti wo se wonto aba afi.
Oya mo se o. Ya ba ya mo ha yie. Ya ba ya se o mo ba mo nya.
Nti won so aba mabu abana.
Abu kura. Me de me mabu.
Whilst others are disappointed and they are saying they will not vote, let me check from this lady if she will vote in this election. Oba abai ubeto.
Metupa manabroso.
Then na ubejina so a wo de beto aba e de ma party A and answer party B.
Say the Ghana na ekọ no. We ba na samboa wa we ba e be bo na yesa wo nto de a. Hwan na enkoto na we mba na wo be ka say wo bo na so mba me de meto manabroso. Se eto no 10 times kwa meto no 10 times.
Na wo ba na be ko hwan ho.
Na se wa wo hwa because de ba wo se yenso no hwe so na hwe anko yie. Nti esisem me sana akọ baby fofo ko aban we de o meboa me. Se me sa akọ de e beboa me.
Ye ben ne ma aban we aye a wo fi se amoa wa nti wo pese wo sesem.
Wa man ne ma ko suru too much. Wo diska kwa akwadwoma. Wo de 100 ko wa se 10 na de akwadwom. Wo baba na hwem, wanti ma nto hwe. Wo to ade so kwa ya nheda nto no papa bi asa. Nti ya sa pe abanda da na no oba betena so. Se be ya ne ma be koso kama mai.
That means Ufi say NDC Jomahama Mambu ne better than Nanado DA.
Oh, na better. Yeah, to me they na better. Better kwa chen. Ma Kufado de ya wabe obabe better chen bebre.
Ubetimi actually mu amayati ase yi.
Oh, Mahama penso no. Na fine na nema wo form kakra. Na yetimi afford nema to nema kakra. Wodi dwan so na ekoyi. Kufado so bo se yen so no hwe ya so na hwe. O ma nema kwaso e wo mse free education. Nzo free education ye twa so ye hunu. Wodi zika kwadwoma nema kwototo nema se se wodi zika kese kwadwoma baba na nema kakra bi na ekutawo. The free education na da ban me fine eye de but ye twa so to ye hunu. That's a cost road don't say a brow mining to say as Uncle ya mind that no samba because on notice with not to mean the neighbor me. So no one was so samba.
Well, Joshua, so these are some of the conversation going on here at the Santase roundabout, Goy filling station, taxi rank. The people here are disappointed in the performance of the government. What they are saying is that tax has gone up, inflation has also shot up, living in difficult situations, and that is why some say they will not vote in this election. Those who also vote in this election, what they are telling me here is that they are considering voting for the NDC, because if they do analysis, the 8 years of the NDC, if they compare it to the 8 years of the NPP, they think that the NPP government has performed abysmally, and therefore they think change of government will solve their situation or the hardship in the economy now. Back to you in the studios.
Inclusive is that John Mahama can only be president for 4 years, but by the grace of God, Bawumia can be president for 8 years. Do we want it for 8 years or 4 years?
I've heard somebody say that 4 years, if somebody has 8 years, he'll be more responsible and accountable. And if somebody has 4 years, he will not be accountable. I mean, it's the most illogical statement I ever heard.
This election is a straight choice between two people, two Northerners. You have Dr. Bawumia and John Mahama. When we say we want to do something, they always say it is not possible, but it is possible.
You don't go saying, vote for me, and when I come, I will do this. You can do it now.
Mama Mistiano, Namin Chicano, Uncle Baby, I see a call.
The person himself says he's a driver's mate. He doesn't have a license yet. So he should work and get a license first. And then after he gets a license, he can come and we'll talk.
I have only been vice president. I have not yet been president. But I can tell you that as vice president, I've done more than John Mahama did as president.
You can fool all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
It's as empty as an empty barrel. When we meet mano a mano.
You say you rationalize taxes. 5 months to an election, you can rationalize. There's enough time to rationalize taxes.
I am looking forward to a debate with John Mahama.
How can you compare this useless government that has led Ghana into such crisis to the government of Kwame Nkrumah? Chopper everywhere, Ghanaians are going to go there and send the message of NDC.
Before your thumb touches the ballot sheet, you need to decide.
Why should you vote?
Who do you vote for?
How will the elections play out?
What do these candidates bring to the table?
And where will the shots be called?
That's where we come in. EIB Election Hub.
We bring you the finest coverage from all the 275 constituencies as all eyes watch the Parliament House.
The EIB Election Hub puts you in the center of the action, leading to the Jubilee House.
Not your regular program.
Here is where Ghana decides. This is Ghana's choice.
The strong room for Ghana's vote is right here on EIB Election Hub 2024.
Maybe you know it, perhaps you've seen it.
But you've never seen the best till you see it on EIB Election Hub 2024.
EIB Election Hub, launching on July 29 at 6 a.m. GMT on GHOne TV and Star 103.5 FM.
Right, so Isaac Justice Bidiako coming to you all the way from Kumasi, letting us know exactly the temperature. And it's quite interesting. People are saying they're not going to vote in the December elections because they've not seen exactly what their votes have been worth since they started casting their ballots. Well, we would urge you, because it's our civic responsibility, to turn out in our numbers on December 7, on that Saturday, to be able to put our thumbprints to the ballot papers and elect a leader for Ghana going into 2025 all the way to 2029. But let's come into the studio once more and have a conversation. Now, primarily, the notion out there is that during election periods like this, we see the youth at the forefront, and sometimes, in some cases, the youth and the Zongos are not excluded. Politicians like to use we the youth to actually perpetuate their activities and also what they intend doing and all of that. But we'll have a conversation shortly on that for you. But get interactive with us on social media, on Facebook, on X, and also on YouTube. My guest in studio is Sheikh Rashid Odwe. He is from the office of the National Chief Imam and a member of the Chief Imam Advisory Board. Sheikh, welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well.
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well.
Nice. So Sheikh, I mean, getting into the elections, like I said earlier, the youth become targets of politicians. We do not have the old people going out there to perpetuate the violence and all of that. You, in the office of the Chief Imam, what is the expectation of the Ghanaian youth going into this election, especially youth in the Zongo communities and all of that?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to look at this question from the angle of what is the expectation of the electorates. Like your reporters were giving us indications from the various regions. I'm sure everyone wants to see an improvement or a betterment of his situation. That is why the person would want to go out and vote. And I want to believe that that is the same situation with the youth. They want to see improvement in their living conditions.
Exactly.
That is the expectation of everyone. But how come, like in your preamble, why is it that people resort to the youth anytime they want to perpetuate violence or anytime they want to do something that is untoward? Because they do so because some people are just moved to act in a particular way just on the spur of the moment. Some people do not give it a second thought and ask themselves whether what I am being encouraged, whether what I am being urged on to do is the right thing for me to do. They do not consider the consequences of the actions they are being called upon to take. That is why people always resort to them. And it is just like the old adage that the devil finds work for the idle hand.
Right.
This person is unemployed. This person is in a desperate situation. This person sees a hopeless situation and wants to make a way out of the corner he or she finds himself in. And most often it is the male. So let me say the situation he finds himself in.
Right.
So he thinks that by listening to what I am being called upon to do, that is what will remedy the situation. But what does the office of the National Chief Imam and the imams under him, what do we do to ensure that this does not occur?
Right.
In the first place, the National Chief Imam, as an ambassador of peace, urges all the imams under him and indeed the entire Muslim community first and foremost to know that sovereignty belongs to Allah, as is stated in Quran chapter 3 verse 26 and 27, that sovereignty belongs to Allah. He gives it to whoever he pleases and he takes it away from whomever he pleases. So there is no question about that. So whether at the end of the day it is party A or party B that is going to win, it is the will of Allah. So he wants every Muslim, every Imam to have this understanding at the back of his mind that at the end of the day, whoever emerges victorious, that is the will of Allah. Secondly, as human beings, we play a role in getting to that final destination.
Right.
So he educates and he urges the imams under him also to educate their followers. Let me use this term, their congregation, those who worship in their various mosques, to educate them to play an active and meaningful role in the electoral process. So you are urged to register when it is time for you to do so. You are also encouraged to go and check your name in the voters register, which will start in August.
Right.
You are also asked not to do things that will mar the peace of the country, because Allah tells us in the Quran that if you are grateful to me for the little that I have done for you, then I'll do more. I'll add more of my favors to you. It is part of the favors of God that we are enjoying relatively peace in this country. So do you want to mar the peace that has been given to you? There are other countries that are making effort to enjoy, to have a semblance of the peace that we have in Ghana. They do not have it. It is because we are living in the peaceful nation. That is why we have even had opportunity this time to sit here and be discussing these things. If we were in a state of anarchy, if we were fighting, we would not have the opportunity to sit here. So the imam, the national chief imam, urges the imams under him to preach to the people that we all have a role to play in ensuring that indeed there is peace within the country. The political actors who pay courtesy call on the national chief imam, he tells them that they should preach peace and they should eschew violence and they should urge their followers, their supporters to do same. And as for the youth, yes, he tells them that there is a price we pay for whatever action we take. And if you do that which is good, you are going to get a good reward from Allah. If you do that which is bad, you are also going to get a punishment from Allah. And as the Quran tells us, you should not contribute to your own distraction. So these are some of the things the office of the national chief imam does to ensure that the youth are never exploited or manipulated to act wrongly.
Now, it's quite interesting. You mentioned that when the political actors come to him, he tells them, when you go, make sure you are preaching peace. Make sure that you are not perpetuating acts or languages that would lead to violence and all of that. But do you monitor them on their campaign trails?
We don't have like a standing committee or team that is monitoring. But we all live in this country.
Exactly.
We listen to the radio. We watch the television. We also monitor what is happening within the social media. And we know what the people say and what they do not say. So sometimes what he does is that if, for instance, you are a politician and you say something that is untoward, he may not come out openly to name and shame you, but you get someone who is close by to tell the person, to appeal to you that what you are doing can have some negative consequences on our nation. So you should put a stop to that. But we all monitor what is happening within the social media.
Definitely. Yeah. So what would be your final words to the Ghanaian youth out there? Yes, we need to exercise our civic rights and responsibilities, but what will be the word to them in terms of protecting the peace that we have?
Yes, we have no other place to go. Ghana is the only country that we have, and the Quran urges us not to contribute to our own destruction. So let us do everything within our power, everything within our means to ensure that we do not turn our nation into a chaotic one just because of elections. If you monitor some of people who got maimed and even killed during the last elections, as we are told, for some people it was only when the incident happened that the said politicians they were supporting paid a call on their families. And since then, they have never shown up again. So you may lose your life, you may be maimed because of a politician, and he or she would forget about you soon after the election. So let us not contribute to our destruction. Let us do everything within our means to ensure that Ghana continues to enjoy the peace that we have.
Absolutely. Sheikh, thank you so much for coming.
I'm grateful for that.
That's Sheikh Rashid Odoe. He is from the Office of the National Chief Imam and also a member of the Chief Imam Advisory Board. So as promised, we are taking you all the way up to the rooftop, and as you can see on the screens there, we are transitioning from the studios to the rooftop where Sewa Ami here will be engaging some guests still on the launch of the EIB Election Hub, and this is our live coverage.
I am Sewam here, and I'm coming to you from the rooftop of the SU building. And on this segment, we're discussing misinformation and disinformation as we get into the 2024 elections. It's been an issue of major concern to all the stakeholders when it comes to this election, from political parties to the Electoral Commission to CSOs, even the ordinary citizen. Everyone keeps complaining about misinformation and disinformation. We'll talk about it very shortly before I hand back to the studio to continue with the programming for the official launch. And I'm joined here by Precious Ankuma. She's the head of programs for Pen Plus Bytes. Precious, good morning. Good morning, and thank you for your patience, I must say. And Palgrave Wachidankwa is government spokesperson on governance and security. Governor Palgrave, good morning. Thank you for your patience as well. I'm going to start with you, Precious, on what your expectations of the media are going into the elections, because you do a lot of training for the media.
Yes. So, as has been done in previous elections, we expect high-quality journalism going into the elections. But we have seen recently with what has happened with Chef Smith, as he calls himself, and we are a bit concerned about it, because then it presupposes that the media is looking to social media for news, which shouldn't be the case. It should be the other way around.
Right.
And looking at how social media has become a bit of a space where everybody can do whatever they want, we want the media to sort of serve as a control going into the elections. And so we expect high quality journalism going into the elections, and we have made preparations to support media houses who have come to us for such support, with training and with some form of campaign in going into the elections, just so that people are prepared to anticipate or to know what is going to happen come December 2024.
Okay, Palgrave, you as a political party, what are expectations of the media?
So, well, I would say a very good morning to your viewers and your listeners, and to state that for us as a political party and even as a ruling government, we want to have objective media reportage. We want to have factual media reportage. You recall when the whole country was led through misinformation, disinformation, when the chef said that he had been cooking for many hours, you know, and it was on front pages, but then we all realized after a while that that was not true. And so disinformation is critical. In an election year, it's important that people verify first. For us at the ministry, we've always advocated that people should verify first all information. Don't be in a haste to be the first to report it, and then afterwards realize that you find yourself wanting. We should have a very well-informed media, especially in this heated election year.
Okay.
I do agree.
Mentioning or calling the election based on projections that we have the same as declaring a winner?
It's a question of sentiments, and I think during elections the tensions are high, and to sort of aggravate it by calling the elections make it a problem. Maybe we should leave the call to those who are mandated to do this call, which is the Electoral Commission. Yes.
So what happens when we have collated so much that it is glaring to the public? What do we do?
At that point, I think that you can only say it as a projection and not call it outright as an official entity should do. And for me, yes, this is what the media should do. You should actually project, but to say affirmatively and to actually make it seem as if it's the official statement is the problem. And for me, it's about also measuring the atmosphere and trying to figure out what is happening on the ground. Even though you have done your projections, what is happening on the ground? Is it an escalation of tensions that you are seeking to do, or you want to be the first to speak to say that I called out the elections? Like Palgrave rightly said, a lot of the media houses are looking to be the first, but what's the outcome of being the first? What do you seek to achieve by being the first? You should always look out for making sure that the information is first verifiable, it is also factual. And so your projection might not be factual, so you should also leave that projection to the entity that has been mandated to actually make that factual statement, and which is the Electoral Commission in this sense. They are always in a hurry, exactly.
Well, I don't think the media, as part of being the fulcrum of the estate, have a role in calling the election. The Electoral Commission, I mean, mandated by the law as a returning officer, has that role and that right. What I can say is that political parties and every other person that is collating stand at a very comfortable lead to be able to state within themselves that they are leading and they are winning. But just because of how we are surrounded within the sub-region with many chaos, military juntas, overthrow of democratically elected governments through terrorism, it's important that the media becomes the basin where we can all have some level of decorum and decorous in a very heated electioneering process. So the call is that all political parties should refrain from calling off the election if they have won, but should be confident enough to call it. And when you know you have won, call it, and I will just wait for the returning officer to be the one to call the election. We are known to have won the 2016 election overwhelmingly by 1 million, known to have won the 2020 election overwhelmingly as well, and we are very confident that in 2024 Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to win the general election as well. And so we would wait for the Electoral Commissioner to call the President-elect Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the President-elect, whilst we do our collations as well. We know our collations would also give us the right figures that the Electoral Commission would also give.
Okay, so this is like a promise by the NPP that you will not call the elections.
Absolutely.
It's a promise.
So what I'm saying, I mean, it's a promise. It's a promise that the New Patriotic Party will not call the election. It's a promise that the government will not call the election. But it's also a promise that the New Patriotic Party will call it, as we have always done. As we did in 2016 and we won, as we did in 2020 and we won. We'll call it as well, because our strong room is always strong. And we'll make sure that our figures is a true reflection of what the Ghanaian people want. And when the returning officer calls the election, he would call none other than Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the President-elect.
We're not discussing projecting your candidates this morning, but you talk about collation, and that's what the media does as well. We have our collating room also here at EIB, where we put the results together and we display it on the screen for all to see. How do we? Yes, you advise against calling the election, but how do we do the collation and in projecting it refrain from causing some sort of fear, if I should say, or unrest among the citizens? Because sometimes without even calling the election, in collation and displaying them, the citizens can see it.
So you see, I mean, I'll take it first. What I will say is that all elections are won at the polling stations. At the polling stations, we have polling station agents from the various political parties. And counting is ongoing at the polling station. There are times you will need to count once or twice or thrice if there are disagreements. because then you need to be taught how to vote very well by thumbprinting at where the picture of the person is.
Okay.
There are some people who vote, and in the folding process, you realize that the thumbprint is either at two places, and so there are either disagreements on it at the grounds of the counting, and there is to the discretion of the electoral officer there to determine the number of hand that is in one person than to another, and then also to agree upon everybody that we are either discrediting this ballot paper or we are agreeing that we're giving it to this person. And so sometimes when people who are not on the ground are calling the election, those are the challenges, because then you have differing numbers that are coming in from the polling station where they have either counted twice or thrice, or they have counted a number of times, or they have agreed that this ballot paper is spelled, agreed by everyone, or we are adding this ballot paper to this person's candidate number before even the other persons that are collating at the various places who are not on set would be able to determine. Which is why it is important that you wait for counting from the polling station, because you recall that in all elections that are done, the returning officers would always sign, and all the political party agents would also sign, and then it will be transmitted to the headquarters where it will be verified that this is a true reflection of votes that have been casted from particular constituency and polling stations.
Precious.
Yes, so I agree with Palgrave on that, on the level of polling stations being where elections are won or they are actually decided at. I also agree that returning officers have the ability or the capacity to report what exactly happened on the ground at the point of the polls. So for me, any reporter on the ground is supposed to work with the returning officer at every polling station. And once that figure is accepted by all party agents within that enclave, then it becomes the rightful figure that is going to be shared with the EC office in the long run. And so as a reporter, if you pick that figure, I think that it's the true figure on the ground. And so if EIB then decides that this is what our reporter has brought to us, and we put that together and we think that this is a true reflection of what happened on the ground, it's good to decide based on that kind of projection that so and so candidate has won at so and so constituency. So for me, it's about reporters on the ground working with returning officers and not party agents, because every party agent will be biased to their own party. And so the reporter must remain neutral in that sense by working with the returning officer or whichever electoral officer is on the ground to report those figures which are given to them officially and not what they get from party agents, because the party agents are also there doing the counts. I see them do the counts per voter at every polling station, but that shouldn't be a true reflection. It should come from an official source. Again, we have spoken about facts, we have spoken about figures, and we have spoken about verifying those facts. And to verify, you need to show where your fact is actually coming from. So if I say that my fact is coming from the returning officer, that's a true reflection. And for me, that is what EIB reporters should look out for. And so if you do your projections based on those figures, I think that is a true projection. And so you can use that for your collation within your centers. Yes.
Okay, now let's talk about misinformation and disinformation. How much of a problem is it from the work that you've been doing going into the elections this year?
It's, should I say, it's a problem that is hanging over our heads as Ghanaians.
Okay. Because
all our neighbors within the sub-region who have had some form of military takeover had it through some of these mis and disinformations that had gone round. And for us as an NGO, Pen Plus Byte believes that we as Ghanaians should be able to arm ourselves better, because misinformation and disinformation had roots in those military juntas coming up in those countries. And if we as Ghanaians sit just idle and presume that, well, it's been with us all these years, so we might as well just live with it, the potential of it coming up as a problem, a huge problem in these elections, is very high. And so we think that as political parties, as NGOs, as media houses, our focus should be on how it is manifesting in these other countries and how as Ghanaians we can equip ourselves better. And so Pen Plus Vice, we think that like every virus, misinformation and disinformation is a virus. And to nip it in the bud, you might as well create a vaccine. And the vaccine is coming up with programs or campaigns that will make people aware of the potentiality of this kind of problem and how much it can cause us a lot of problem during the elections. So EIB, I think that this is a point to in the good direction that you should also sort of intensify your campaigns around mis and disinformation.
Okay, but a lot of these things come from the political parties.
Very much so.
What can we do? Or I mean, with all the work that you're doing, what have you done and intend to do to put them in check?
So ahead of the elections, we are building something we call the disinformation detection platform.
Okay.
What we are going to do is that we are building it with an AI tool that is going to identify the sources or the keynotes of disinformation campaigns. And when we say that, you realize that usually on Twitter, and you're very vibrant there, you would see that for one particular tweet, there are about 10, 20 handles tweeting the same tweet. It emanates from a key source.
Right.
And that is the key source we want to identify. So we are working with political parties. We are working with other NGOs.
Are they interested? Is there the will to fight disinformation? Because they are the crux of it, the source of it. And Paragraph is here. The NPP does it, NDC does it.
Almost everyone does it.
Paragraph, why?
You know, so
your government particularly campaigned. I don't know if the campaign is over, but you're championing the a campaign against disinformation and misinformation.
Yes.
But your government is still the one that is putting out some of these false information. Paragraph, why?
I don't know which information our government has put out that is false.
Even I'm sure that you've seen it.
I don't know which information.
Quite a number. You heard it. Quite a number.
Every information.
Sometimes it comes from there.
Every information that our government has had to put out are very friable information.
Oh, I can give
very
you a few.
friable
I mean, on top of my head is the train issue. There was. Right, that was an instance where the minister in charge of that sector gave us information which turned out not to be accurate, and that is misinformation.
Is it a train, the collision?
Yes.
The collision of the train.
Yes.
I didn't follow much. I didn't follow much.
Follow it.
No, I didn't follow much of the train issue.
Follow it. Okay.
Because you see, one of the key things really is that it's important that we verify every single information that we receive from political parties and from government, and also it's important that political party agents and political activists and political actors ensure. It's critical because in such a heated electioneering process, if you don't have the integrity of the information, don't share it. Because then if people pick an information from person A and believes in the integrity of the person and says that because person A has shared it, it is true, so I'll share it. That's why she mentioned many handles will keep retweeting and retweeting information, which is why for us as a government, we've always ensured from the Ministry of Information, from the Government Communications Bureau, the Presidency, from even the party office, the Directors of Communications, we've always ensured that every single information that we have had to churn out are verifiable information. They are truthful information. I mean, if anyone puts out any information that is not truthful, they will be able to come back and say that this information was not truthful, this is the right information. Because I think that is key.
So we haven't seen that.
I haven't seen government or
we are
even
looking
any
forward
member of any political party comes to say that we put out information which is false.
Hopefully they would acknowledge it.
Do you recall when we did a performance tracker at the very initial stages when we had our challenges? Government admitted
That's
that
because
we had
even we, the media, and opposition and
government
CSOs
admitted
pointed it
that,
out to you.
Yes, but then we admitted that there were some errors in it. There were not false. There were errors. There were errors. Okay, we noted that there were some errors in the structuring of the performance track, and government admitted that. And so government clearly, I mean, the credibility of government is unwavering.
Precious is facial
I wish you could
expression.
actually look into my face.
Precious, government is very much unwavering in the integrity
Don't
of
worry,
ensuring that
you
information
know
is
what I'm
key.
going to do? I'm going to find them. Hopefully from today I don't see 80, but when I do, I'll put them together. Palgrave will come on this show again next week, God willing, and then we will get into it.
And
Don't
we'll
worry.
bring that of the NDC as well.
But
All
you see,
their misinformations that they have turned out over the years.
Let me just let our viewers know that we're supposed to have a rep of the. This is a non-partisan conversation, and because we want to fight misinformation and disinformation, you not seeing an NDC rep mean that the NDC is also not guilty of misinformation and disinformation. Let me just put out to the public. So don't think that it is just that of the NPP that we are interested in. No, please. I just had to put that out. But Precious, how does the public spot fake stories?
Okay, so this is a simple journalistic analysis that anybody can do. We call something the 5 W's and 1 H in journalism. And I'm sure most of us would know about it, which is the usual question you ask yourself. Who said this? Why did they say it? When did they say it? How did this kind of information even come about? So those are like questions you should ask yourself anytime you encounter any news story. Again, you should look out for how the news story makes you feel. So a classical example is what political parties will do. They will ignite your sentiments. They would want you to feel some sense of ownership with whatever they issue. And so you should look out for that too. How does it make you feel? Are you agitated? Are you excited? Are you sort of upset with the kind of news that you are encountering? You should also look out for some forms of mistakes. So Palgrave rightly said there were errors in the performance tracker. If you see something misspelled, if you see something misquoted, if you see a word out of place, you should know that no true political party or no true journalistic person would issue such a statement. Then also, if it's an image, we all know what Google does for us. The simple Google reverse image search will help you know whether this image was taken at the right place at the right time, because most often you will see, and it's very particular when we encounter these stories about protest or violence in some areas. Some of them are very old images, but people take it and they associate it with news stories just to sort of tell the story as it is, but it's really not true. So those are the few things I could share at present with people. Again, we would come up with some tools which we would tell you about ahead of the elections. As Pen Plus Byte, like I rightly said, we are going to build something we call the disinformation detection platform, and we will tell you how to send us those images, those videos, those news stories that you feel are untrue, and we will verify and tell you how you can fight or protect yourself against this and misinformation.
Okay,
Yes.
you know, Precious, there's one other thing that we have seen. You know, a lot of these political parties, both NDC and NPP, what they do is that when they see news stories from media houses put on flyers that they don't agree with, then they slap fake on it. I'm sure that you've seen it, just to make it look like it's a fake story. I'm sure that has come to your attention as well.
Yes.
But Palgrave, why do you do that?
Because
when I say you, I don't. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know it's me.
Dr.
It's me. I'm the one here. You know, because sometimes the news is fake. Just last week, I saw some conversations ongoing about a supposed leave by a high-ranking official in this country, and we know it is fake. Clearly, it's very fake. So if and it's news that had gone round 6 weeks ago and it's revived itself again. And so
but
when
do you
we
think
see
the best way to fight that is to slap a fake writing on it, how about speaking to it?
Exactly my point.
Or issuing a statement, because of how these things have become, you don't even know if it is the communications bureau from the NDC or the NPP that is actually saying it is fake, or it is someone who is sitting in their home and slapping the
and
word
this
fake
can
on
be
it.
done easily with Photoshop.
Yes.
You can just sit
no,
anywhere
but then you see,
and do that.
no, but then you see, so impressions. One of the things that I'll tell you is that most of the fake news that has come out, that government or state institutions have issued statements, those news go around again, and media is very cyclical. Those news go around again, and in 6 weeks you find it back again in the media.
True.
And so when you see it again, you need to put fake news on it. In January, an issue would happen, you find it again in July. And as we're going into the election, I can bet you, look, from October, November, you will find many issues that will come from political parties that are untrue, which political parties have responded to months ago. But then I'm sure that some part of the ethics of fighting mis and disinformation, the first part is to disclaim that it is untrue. And so when you disclaim that it is untrue, you need to put that stamp on it. Because the NDC would bring fake news, the NPP will bring fake news, and you need to be able to discredit those fake news that come so that we can be able to sieve out and have some sanity. And I think that sanity is key as we near this heated electioneering process.
And I'm asking again, is the best way to fight that misinformation to slap fake words on it, the fake letters on it, Precious?
Ideally, give us a means of verifying whether it's true or false by ourselves. So you don't need to determine that for us. Let us find some way that we can verify by ourselves that this is actually true or is false. And so, like you rightly said, maybe you can issue a statement. Somebody went on leave and someone says it's not true. Can you direct us to where we can verify that this person is actually on leave or not? So issue a statement, call a press conference, or counter it in such a way that nobody can do that kind of countering by themselves just by sitting in their homes. And that for us is very important.
Okay, there's one final thing that I want us to look at. That is, beyond slapping the writing fake on some of these artworks for media houses, some are actually using the sample work and the flyers of the media houses and putting wrong information on it and sharing it. Pagreb, you are smiling. You know what I'm talking about. Your party is guilty. The NDC is also. In fact, you're all guilty about this one.
So you see, so I'll tell you something.
What is government doing about it?
One time ago, I saw my very good friend from the opposition side make a statement, purported to have made a statement on a network. And so I sent it to her and I asked if this was true. And then she said it was fake. So I'm glad that we have very good relationships across. Okay, very good relationships with EIB Network, very good relationships with other media houses. So if I find a story that is coming from EIB and I'm able to prompt EIB that this story is fake, I think EIB has a right to be able to put a fake stamp on it. And likewise with other networks that comes across board. I think that for us as a government, the position is that mis and disinformation must be fought squarely by everyone. We shouldn't allow it to denigrate into the ears of people who are going to make constructive decisions. Young children are on vacation now and they are consuming a lot of things on the media front. Whatever they hear is what they think is a structure of our democracy.
Right.
Or they feel it's a structure of the society or the community, which might not ordinarily be so. And so it is important that we ensure that mis and disinformation is fought by everyone, politically or non-politically, because the hazards of that are too much to bear.
Okay. Precious, I'll give you the chance to put out your final words before we wrap up.
My concern going into this elections is with WhatsApp.
Okay.
WhatsApp is like a black hole that we cannot even try to control. And that is the most used platform recently in Ghana. Everybody is on WhatsApp. Its potential for audio and video communication makes it a very big concern for us as an entity. And so maybe the political parties should also consider thinking about that, how we can use it for good, even though it's going to be a tool that is going to spread mis and disinformation very much going into the elections. We think that if we all put our heads together and not do things in silos, we might be able to win this fight against mis and disinformation.
Thank you very much.
You know, Sewa, just on WhatsApp, you know
Quickly,
that Meta brought out these channels, and these channels are verifiable channels.
Yes.
So what would entreat is that everyone who wants to verify an information beyond the WhatsApp group go to the channels. And so for us, as a new patriotic party, we have our WhatsApp channel for our flag bearer, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, which is Dr. Bawumia and Breaking the Eight.
Thank you very much. Dr. Palgrave Wachidankwa, he's government spokesperson on governance and security, and Precious Ankuma is head of programs at Pen Plus Bytes. They do a lot of training for journalists, especially every election year. Thank you for watching this, and continue to watch the EIB Election Hub. Today is the official launch of our election-related programs. Right now, let me cross over to the Central Business District. My colleague Ifia Pokia is currently stationed there, and she'll be interacting with the people. We are getting into the elections. It's about 131 days more to know who becomes the next president of Ghana. And Palgrave, I'm not even looking at you because I know what you're going to say. Ifia, now what to say?
Omujina so be mente so no GHOne ahwefo nyina kwaba edeba makola nene na EIB Election Hub ye pa ho entoma aka nafo mako aha aduokono oha ani aduonu 29 days na ye kwa akoto abanu ntino ye bisa se edwa so etesen na abato no so etesen menyame maame ba ko a woton eye atosode ene enema ede ye aduane wa ha se ne ye misa ne se ene ya ba ya ye kwa akoto aso wabeto abawo fihin enenei waba woton enema e wa ha sansa wo ba ha na wutie nkomo na omudi na nkomo no emu ohyepa Ghana fo bebre na pilai ebi nso so o ma ye crowd so mo beto aba sansa wo mo kokromoti na be kire mampanyi obeba de edi so na afeso wo bra hye bedwafo a wo ebeyi wo 2024 December nyame ya adom a ye ko akoto abai eno nti ye boye homoden na ye di nkomo na ya hwe na ya hwe se abato no ebekọ sen ye ko na me maame eyi etimi edi nkomo maame oteme nka ye maame ye ko sesi a wo wi a na nka me no edi nkomo kakra na ya hwe se de ebetimi akọ ewo honomo I go TV ni GHOne. Mame me mo watching it to say. Nyamina. E pa che ma wa kwa ba de ba go TV so. Who did the same? Pa cho me di azuma. O fi hin na wo beton ade wa ha. Oh, me ti osu. Ana pacha se me firi kuro benso. Da bi wo firi hin na obeton ade. Ah, me firi osu. Na wo to aba wa he. Oh, me to aba wo odi. Okay. Aka 129 days here. Tie akwalo kote. Da bi afene ma 129 days. Ne akoto aba. Se obeto aba for we. Oh, meto aba papa. Na obeto ama hwan. Oh, anu de mi ntimi nka. Waka me tuma MPP. What did you do? Me tuma MPP. Okay. Now my feel we madane. I'm getting a wadane. Ya na me ba. Se di omo ye no me ninje won ti afeel we madane me hon di akọ protocol. Osu protocol. Be say yesterday na abeto am MPP. Oh, MPP na meto ama no. Na enkrofo nso ka se edwamu enye mo ba ye nto ade ne ade. E na ba ye na te sen. Me pa so ye nto ade nso mo nna fie. Womo emana omo se ento ade no 3 o'clock no omo wodwom ha sa womo se ento ade no nka wo so omo dafie eso 3 o'clock me kura me gina me kasa afena me fira gbogbo nsia me ba a me be se don se me yi me nyoma me nya nhedwa eso nya me be se no wanu nyam eto omo se ento ade no 3 o'clock no omo wodwom ha ntia ya omo ba eden ade pa na ya omo
Yamami Bisasa, a man, I almost see a Jamu Ayadeno, almost one Toshi, Yanta, the Ansudebia, Wamoba, and Tiana, Wamoba, Jamua, Wamoba, baby, a day. I know I have question at all Bisasa, Namami moving, Namen Koma, Mia, or Jamin Chenya, or Tontosi, Nami Misana, so on also 2024 general election. Wabetu Avana, Minia Bamimoache. Now what to say?
I don't know.
Yeah, better about better.
Ebia.
Maybe I didn't think I want to.
Minister.
And to see Russell or no dear, one yes, sure, I said, or can floating members now, woman, the baby, or better about one decided yet to say, one more better about 90, my men call and 10 temna. Mene me mame enkokodi enkomo emra sesia ante aisha memoachi o
mejo so menu aba
na te say
adomara kwa na won so e
nyame adum 2024 ye kwakoto aba aka 129 days ye bisa se makora ma moton ade mo beto aba no
ye beto aba de te se wo wale oba abefie enti awo wakomam enti odru ho a ye ma o paper na ye pass ondwe
man shampacho betimi apagya omu kakra ma me na mahwefo na timi ehu ye aha na wo se dai
me say abato no eti se ukowale oba abefie abato wo akomam enti ya mamu krata na ukwa dia upeno no na watu aba no na wo dia ama no na wo akofie din na wo atie di odi first di owiye ubeto nyuma watu nyum ubesa wo udem na wasa ye pam shoganafo yempe tobe ena ye penifo nso di anyame ade ama wo awudi beboa ma eni mema e wo Ghana no omuba omunka no kware nkyereye mo bia ndidi atem nkwala no senia penifo no ye betra wo didi atem nkwala na esua ye sro mo didi atem nim de wo wakoma mo opesa onbua ye no ye ka na ye ndi wachi na ye vote ma we no pe na ye pe
na wo to aba we he
me pa cho me to aba okotoba bi en record
enti afiu beto ama aban be san se NDC wo ho MPP CPP chedam wo ho na Alan Kwadwo Chairmanten wo mo nyina e wo ho enti afi no wo beto aba ma hwan
me pa cho ambrasema ni nyina ya nyame asem odru ho a na nyame be che wo se o de atuma we de yambo obi di se me koto ama wa we ni we de bi eno de eni enchramla
okay ya da se ma me Aisha na mene no edi nkwa na na se ma ne nkwa na mene wo mo bo wa hasa na ne manya be ma ba ko ha mene ne ebedi nkwa ofa me ma wa kwa badeba GHOne TV so na udin de say
me brother Sammy
to aba we he
oh that's my last stop
2024 aka 19 days near 129 days near koto aba wo beto
metupa abi ya metuba
wo beto ama aban ben
metuba Dr. Baumia
edi enti na beto ama Dr. Baumia
free education mamieru omina ko free education
na chese papa we do chese MPP amanyoko na boa no na nye sa de anka ne ma no omo tifie enti wono obeto edi ama Dr. Laji Mahmoud Baumia na watimi ato anwuma pa wo yeso me wofa ma me na wase na me ne nua ba mai enso ento aso wofa bre me wa ha se na wo te sai
abachoboko
wodin de sai
ya fa me Morgan get the Morgan
na woto aba we
o me wutu senya kaswa wono mo
okay aka 129 days ya kwa koto aba 2024 wo beto
the ATN is me a Voltarian or me free voter region. And this a voter so for so many years during Rolling Star. When you share my the most deprived region part of Ghana voter region. We free ho Lord Kwani Yaman for Juman ye. Yes, we are yes NDC. Yanyashi. What does here? Individual ma to about 52,000 NDC. I mean to about NDC bio. Because if it's maybe a soldier for no one me chrome kwano a border we share a border with Togo. Lord Kwani in Siotini, you have no in Siotini, a river that flows through several villages. That's what we drink. We have followed NDC for so many years. If you go to Agbozume Kiliko, they see us taking the land, and the place is silent. There's no any work there. The youth are suffering. We have voted for NDC under the leadership of Rawlings for 20 years. We have not witnessed anything. For me, they never will I vote for NDC. If we all came at the corner NDC, because now you have voter region, another camera voter, I catch you Agbozume, fear them by all the place. It's never will vote for MPP.
Okay, me da say. Yenu abema no nso akire na adwen wase ono de obeto e de ama MPP afiwe. Esan se MPP amanyoko no aye nema bebre na NDC de wo ba ye no. Wa hu hwe ma me nko me nua bai ho na me ne no endi nkomo na me mbisa ne se ahi ne wo firi a wono nso ton ade e wo makola. Oba no nyamfo me chia o. Na te say
na me adum.
Wodin de say.
Me de kasewa.
2024 ye kwa kwato aba December 7th. Wo beto aba.
Meto papa.
Otu aba we.
Meto aba wo kotoba bi and record.
Na ubeto ama ban be san se NDC, MPP, CPP, and afa PNC. Dr. Cheda mu nyina wo ho nti hwan na abeto ama no.
Oh. Na me ya adom na mele ne so a. Meto maba ma Dr. Baumia.
Ade nti na abeto aba ma Baumia.
Oh, meto aba ma Baumia papa kire se. O man so ehu de oye. Me de me de oye. Timidie Baumia wana meto aba. Media maba de MPP.
Okay, waso ano de ni kokromoti ne MPP a na ode be ma no. Na mame nko driver fo e ho na me ni wo mo. Enkonkodi nkomo esan se ene petrol no enkofo kase yatum. Taxes nso egusu bebre nti no. Adriver fo no bebre apila ye pese ye hu se obeto ana wonto. Driver mechia.
Oh, mejoso.
O what to say?
Yeah.
Na ehi na woto aba na 2024 beto aba na wonto aba.
Na aba no meto ama wana. Meto ama na nakufuado ana mama.
Sesi ase na nakufuado de wa 7 term awie ntie Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, wana John Dramani Mahama na eko. Enu nti se nipa mienu ni other parties na aka no. Why na sa wo beto aba wo beto ama no?
Mama se na ba born ne ye de. Me de me nyesho se aba no metu ato aba. Me so da wo mate because online. Na wo Bawumia wo be ba be dada ye. Wo ka che se diesel wo ba obeti so. Petrol obeti so. Na wan ti so. Na me sorry wo mate betu aba ma wo. Na wo mama mre bi twa me wo ba e. Wo be dada be ye. Mama me ni abatu. Me nada wo. Me wo fo pa me tu aba. Se me ka se me tu aba pa me dada wo. Because me name ne pa oba. O be man dis na be ba form. Ana akom endi organa ha. O mo nyina me dada fo. Me nada wo. O mo nyina me dada fo. Ye tuma says kawe edai says 3 million. Me point e se me to say 8 million. Answer me nyame de. Me tu na me ma no. Me o ma be 4. Me o ma be 4. I na me be go fie. Because of mommy me kasa kwa makuma ya me ya. Me pese me kasa. Ya bre na batu.
Abatu kwa ya jai da. Ya jai abatu. Because emboy kura mommy. Obi ani ho beba Ghana be yi nada. Omo nyina mo papa ba kuma me ba ya bre na abatu.
Niema ne boss eye Nana Kufuado aye na wo ba beto aso Mahama nso ba ono so de ni new policies ba ye be yi akwan ye be ye niema
wada or private car na so wada o port or drive na wada na kan ko togotama wo se fama wo mate bo beto drive ye wo mate driver na ka to from o driver na wanya accident na fama wo mate aden and the car na adwen nya dwuma
ye da se wono nso a kire na adwen driver fo na kire o ma adwen a Wamo actually say omo pa de say wamo beto aba 2024 pa de alabraka wamo ntoda na bayire foforo aba krom enu nti nkrofo to aneto mamembra me mame nchina me ne mame ndi nkomo kakra na chese mimisa ne say afi wo beto aba esan say edwasofo ma no so say wamo beto wate ase mame na ho te say
nyame ado me hoye
wodi
pepa to mi didede
o dede na ofri hin na ya oba makola beton wade
no be free aplaku barrier kaswa barrier
waso afi kaswa ton na ya na oba na mame aka 129 days ne yakoto aba obeto aba fi
pa cho de bi me nto aba
adenti na won to aba
o sana ewiase na ye no ne sana brabo ne si kono nti na me nto aba yere
wano wasise de wiase na ye na babọ na ekọ nti won to aba na so wo gidie bi se ebi adachi bi betimi adu ama ya to aba wo bi betimi asesan niema ama na kwot se di 2000 net ye 1990 net ye wo gidi sa de na betimi asi
to me si sa ye ku ye nim to me si na se ye mpagifo ni nyina ye dipa baako we kọ na we ba de we ye na no so ba be ye eti adu nti na me gina so sa ba na mento
One of the was MPP bow NDC bow nyadia wamo baba sasashe wamo nyina yepe enti nyadia wabeto aba obekopa adwuma ma obi papa na wono so te ane ye je ne ticket da bi wonye mame me ba na mame ne obeto ana wonto adenti na wonto aba mame wo ka de odwane afi me ho wo se onto aba de kire se wonim ne onto aba na ebeye ediama ne nti no onto aba enu nti manya maami broni eba ko wo menchen a wono de oso opeso o kire na adwen se obeto maami ye fa say
ye family dia oto aba we meto aba me taifa meto aba wadwo asafo align me MP ni adwo asafo ayeyi na free so no meto aba efisa adwo asafo aba aye no me first o dress a sebe ya obeti esi abonte food throw enne wato ayi wo me ho wasama me kanea ene me bekwa bonte na obakura me nsuro tisa obi fi me bro no so no nsia mre mo obi di sika atwitwa no ene ni nyina kọ na na ba ye da ye de na na si so ade chi ye na me fe me second me third born awo ye awo be mama me na na bia nko school ni bidie me di me ntoma na ton ma me ma nan ko school ene ukọ mikro mu a wo bia ma me down say ai me pa cho me sika na me ba na ko school ma me bucket ma me tobox ene ni ho abamba wo bia ba ye aban ba nana kufuado ba ye wo bia ko school free abatan ya somadwe na ka wa hwedwa te se na sister hwedwa wo mo ba na oba e besra wo ho ade ene bi ni ho eti meto aba ye sore no nan na me ensa ene e kosan lai na me mana bisa me se na se kwa hwe o ma school awie na me se me bo aban me aban ba me bo ano aban ba me bo ano income tax for ba me ho police ni di akire na me bisa papa na se papa aha wo ba ya wo ba ji sikai am robbers wo dwem man ye de akopa bisia de ye okay eye adwuma ye ma me de oso no de obeto aba oto aba ewo adwo asafo a honti obeto aba na manya me ma me wa ha ma me bisa ne sa so wono so beto aba ma me obeto aba
mbacho ai meto aba
na woto aba we he
ma yue galo
okay enti woto aba no beto aba de enti na beto aba no
o fa na ma yue ga eja keshi wo ye gama mi no ni makeji ma fon shikie ya keshi mi to ni no ya ba mami ni no ni wona ja keshi keji afon shikie previously me ka afon shikie wona noko wo gbe efen fite nje bi ane nje ayikuma je dodoa teacher phone ojimi ninja je nto ni ba wo gbe efen fite she once money wo fon shikie but na fe woni akesa wo gbe jake with what road say e ke development ba mami no fe no ba fe road ji number 1 nichulo efe ba ya nichumo road no ame ba yi then ame ka ba ya sha me nichumo jira ye loy fe ame ba yi gbe ano gbejigbe ano na me ka ba ya sha me nichumo he no won pa fai ka wo fon shikia ko na sa wo gbe ahan wo ko ni ma aya hie awo. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Wakan kan ya kire mu de obeto aba ene ade mame won ho te say.
Ami adum.
Na your friend say.
Pacho mi de Margaret Amatoshi.
Okay, woto aba wa he?
Pacho mi to aba wa kotia.
Enti afi wo beto aba.
Afi na ka mi se mi to aba. Na mi se mi ntu so no meto. Na woto aba no so amfaso bia unya amfaso bia so.
Okay, edi enti na wo se wo nto na afre de wonya adwen sakra sa afre de obesesa wa adwen na wato aba.
Me say ye ho no nyama to me ba enso yehwehwem ansa na edi amawo yehwehwem ansa na edi amawo ye mawo bi memi we ndisipa na me da me to aba nanso ndisifo nyama bi ba yehwehwe obi a omo ye ayi pa no sa omo di ndisifo achi no omo ne yi ade amawo na ye ye won chan de omo nimu ye
enti afi be kwa akoto aba enti se si ade na change wa adwen a wo se wo be kwa akwati akoto aba
media ya de a mi wo mu dida nti na mpesa me to no ka me se me ntokura
wasenka won to aba nso se si anu wadwen hu se so wo to aba na wo yi mampanyi anamra shebedwani nti wobeto aba 2024 yi wonso a wo hwe yen wobeto aba na asa wonto aba na emaba wanso wo krom mamene ababa wei eni enkomo sesia na mimisa ne se wano nso obeto aba ana se onto aba ababa wa ye feel say
midinde mamiefu akere
oto aba we
meto aba o teshi.
Okay, 2024 general election wobeto aba na wonto aba.
Oh, metal.
I didn't know about Tuaba.
As a good citizen, there, so Tuaba now, who say, or mine, and Sunny Becoso.
Okay, for so many years, I want Tuaba, where ye president, I would draw my shebedra for I would draw, Wamosha boy, ya bay ya quine, ya be mansuo, ya bay say, Usha, Abaya or was Abaya Wabakono, Wamaya dear be a shame crown when it's a Wakwaya and ya woteshi, Wunsua and Yania den Wamayama. When you saw the Abaya ye, near buying so jeans or mobile near me be a dewakuma, so met me I am.
Baby on my baby, so my filly, so mine.
I hear no one my yen, I hear no my filly.
Teshi Manfin Road is on my year, but baby, and I like my road and so my baby, so mine.
Okay. Yo, meda se why? I don't see Makola Drum and a Jina Meneminia Bayi and a D and Koma watch say one no better about essence a quine be or one more aye, I don't know about 2024 general election no and the Yabekwaka 129 days na Yatuaba and a so GHOne TV now shall go TV Yababe PMO ewo Makola Drakesiemu Yane Mano Edin Komo Amo Trese one better about almost no sono one watch ready and see one to abanti Midi Eddie Fia Pokia na yadu besi wa hane ne yebepia mane nyina yesa EIB Election Hub and the yepa ho entomanti GHOne Go TV Star FM Abusia Radio 3.
Right, interesting commentary coming in from the Central Business District. If Yabokia is with Kasapa FM, Go TV, and in fact, we all form part of the EIB family, and this is where Ghana decides, and so you cannot miss any minute of our coverage from now till December 7 and beyond. But we talked about the Gen Z manifesto. What are the youth also asking from the government? What are they looking forward to in terms of what would inform their choices come December 7? And you know what? First time airplay. We are commissioning it right here. First episode of Gen Z Manifesto with Vanessa Tutua Danso. Stay with us.
Through their fingers, the generation of our history. Now globally, they make up about 2.5 billion of the world's population, and so they are largely influential. Now it will interest you to know that they have even come up with their own terminologies describing things that either pleases them or displeases them. For instance, if they want to say something is false, they simply say no cap. As Ghana heads to the polls this December election, this show, the Gen Z Manifesto, seeks to understand how the Gen Zs will decide and what will inform their decisions. Once again, you are welcome to the maiden edition of the Gen Z Manifesto, and I am Tutua Danso. Let me Gen Zs and have a conversation with them, starting off with governance. And so, Justice, thank you so much for coming. And let me just find out from you firstly, how do you see governance?
Okay, so I see governance as making policies, governance as elections, power. Yeah, that's all governance involves.
Right, let me just come to you, Janet. How do you also assess governance generally in the eyes of a Gen Z?
I think governance is about, it incorporates leadership and basically everything pertaining to that, yeah.
Okay. Let me go quickly to Natasha. Tasha, what is your definition of governance as a Gen Z?
A good governance or just governance?
Just governance.
Everybody can govern. So being able to, I don't want to use the word govern, but yeah, put in place conditions, put in place platforms, to be able to help your country and the citizens, especially the youth, because we make up the country.
Okay. Now let me come to you, Delali. Natasha was talking about the fact that governance involves putting up plans that matters to the youth. As a Gen Z, what matters to you?
My freedom matters to me. I believe that we all need our voices to be heard. And that has to be shown even with the people who are currently ruling or people who will rule in the future. I hope I've answered that question.
With that being said, Justice, are you satisfied with the nature of governance?
As in currently?
Well, as far back as you can remember.
It has been okay, but like in recent times it's really bad.
How bad?
There are plenty like things you can point out that the government's ruling right now has done that like it makes me like think that are they really for us or are they there in power to take care of our needs?
So you speak so disappointed. What has been disappointing for you, especially with this administration?
One thing is that when they put in like laws or they make decisions that Ghanaians as a whole we complain about it, most of them like they come out and then instead of saying something that will calm us down, they'll say things that is like an insult to Ghanaians.
What is one of such insults that you remember?
The Minister of Information, Honorable Esla Usu, when the e-levy like tax was brought, and then she was like, if you're able to send 100 cedis in Ghana now, you are rich. And I think that's really something that you're not supposed to tell us.
Let me go back to him and ask, so what if you have 100 cedis, does it mean you're poor?
This current situation, we are very, very poor.
Okay.
We are very, very, very poor because what can 100 cedis do? It just leaves your hands in 3 seconds, like doesn't really last. 100 cedis won't do.
Now, when I was introducing the show, I did indicate that Gen Zs must hold governments accountable. In your own way, how can we hold governments accountable? Because for you, for instance, you have been very vocal about your displeasure. How can you, as Gen Zs, come together to hold governments accountable? I'll start off with you, Janet. Let me come to you quickly.
I think first and foremost we can do that by voting wisely. That's the first step. And
when it comes to voting wisely, as you say, what are the issues that tops it for you?
Everyone votes based on their preference. Some people don't vote based on the political agenda or the policies that the political parties are bringing into place. Some people vote because, I'm MPP, so my family, everybody's MPP, so I'm voting just because of that. I think you should analyze their policies and see how viable or possible it is when they do come into power. Yeah.
Now, for the longest time, we have had old men, quote and unquote, want to lead the country. But recently, we have seen somebody like Cheddar wanting to take over the country because he believes it is time for the youth. What is your reaction to that?
I like it. I like that somebody that we can see ourselves in a way is going to parliament.
But Cheddar is not a Gen Z.
No, he's not. But then I think we relate to him. Okay, so the fact you have
by virtue of the fact that he's young,
relatable in other ways, because you have social media, you know he's relatable. He's as Gen Z as can be. Basically, it's really nice to see some, because I feel if somebody that we think is really relatable up there is in power, then our voices can be heard. Then if we have, we're venting on social media, if we're attacking, politics and everything, somebody up there that understands us or is closer to us and not almost 80, can hear us and understand us. So I'm very happy that somebody, and it's not just him per se, but MPs and everybody. Yes, I'm happy that we get to see younger people in parliaments. Right. It means we're going to be heard.
Right. Yeah. Let me come to you quickly. For Natasha, it's more about the relatability. What does it for you when a Gen Z is likely to lead a country?
I believe that it shows that anyone can do it. And I also think that in having younger people in power, they're able to speak up for the rest of us who aren't there. I think essentially, if a younger person is in power, regardless of whether or not they are young or old, what matters is that they have a track record of actually proving what they've done. So, yeah, but if it's a young person doing so,
doing that, being in power, then it's 100% check for me.
If you were in power, how would you change the country?
That's a great question.
I have no idea. I mean, you're desperately looking out for a Gen Z to rule the country. So how come you don't have an idea? Let me just cross over to him, because how would you change the country if you had the power to rule? You also don't know.
No, but
am I getting the signals Gen Zs are not ready?
Yeah.
You're not ready.
Actually, we are not like ready to be responsible to like govern the whole nation.
Is it just you?
Not just me. No.
Okay, your friends disagree.
Gen Zs in general, like we are, how do I say, we've not got that responsibility yet. Most of us, like, we are still under our parents' supervision, and then most of us haven't really like been given the responsibility to take care of people as a whole. So like giving a Gen Z the responsibility of governing a whole nation right now, it would be a mistake, because most of them, they've like been pampered their whole lives, and some of them don't even care about some things. So yeah.
Okay, but this is quite interesting, because I don't know if you know what the Constitution says. You have to be 40. Gen Zs are not yet 40. So what do we do?
Well, with that, I think that needs to be amended, because putting an age cap of 40, it's a bit too. You know, they say life begins at 40, so there's the presumption that at 40 you're mature. But I feel like it depends on the individual. Some people can be very young and still have mindsets as adults. That's why I clearly disagree with him, because you can be 17 and act like you're 26. So I feel like it's just an individual thingy and how people.
But don't you think that taking over a country is a different ballgame altogether? You need lots of experiences, among other things.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I wouldn't disagree. That's why youth leadership in universities, for instance, taking the role of presidency, like JCR presidency and all of those things are like training for the greater, picture, if you look at it. So I think Gen Zs actually we can actually, govern a country.
Let me come to you. I mean, they have given their opinions, and it looks impossible for a Gen Z to rule the country now. But if you were to rule the country, what would you do to change the country?
Okay, so my
first of all, what are your issues with the current administration?
Okay, so they don't really let us know much about their governance.
So there are gaps in communication,
their proceedings and everything. They disclose most of the information, just give us something very brief. But in actual sense, it's not supposed to be like that. Like, there are most people really going through it, like, really going through that times, like, and you really need to let us understand, because we complain about the depreciation and appreciation and all that. You must let us understand why the dollar rate has gone to that extent. Yeah, we need to understand the proceedings and all that, and I think that's very essential.
But they have put together some key indicators that, for instance, is affecting to the cedi depreciation. Are these not accessible to you? Especially because, as I said earlier, you're literally on your phones all the time.
The cedi depreciation, there's small to that. You can't just come and tell us something very brief and you want us to, but like, we are very creative. So giving us a fair idea, we will do something about it. We will use social media to do something about it, because right now data charges are increasing. So I even feel that trying to even attack us, trying to keep us in mute, because it's data that helps us to keep our voices out there.
So you think the increase in data charges is targeted at something?
Targeted at us, because we talk through social media. So if you are increasing the data charges, I'm telling us to keep quiet, like shut up, because not everyone can afford it. And we speak through social media. Even the most reserved Gen Z speaks through social media. Even if they can't speak out, it's social media through that. It's the medium which they speak to other people. They make their voices heard to other people. Yes, I think
you are clearly displeased with this administration. I'll come to you and ask you the same question. How do you assess this administration? They have put in place a lot of policies. What is your assessment?
Most of the policies they've put in place are not needed. Most of them, they don't make sense, quote unquote.
Okay.
Like free SHS, for me, it went against me. I didn't really benefit from free SHS, because my school like this, the high school I went to.
Which school was that?
Pope John.
Okay.
My dormitory, the house was broken down, and then they told us they are building a new one to like take in the capacity that the free SHS is bringing, because like they are taking more students, and that was during the gold and green track. So then,
which year was this?
Did I come?
Yeah, no. Which year did they put down the building in order to want to reconstruct a new one?
Early 2020, like January 2020. That was before lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we had to move to another house, and then I had to sleep on the corridor because I didn't have anywhere to be.
For how long?
I spent like the whole of first semester, Form 2 on the corridor.
What of Form 1?
Form 1, I had a house.
Okay.
And then it was Form 2 that they were like, they are breaking the house down to build a new one.
Okay.
Until now, the house is not built yet. There's no one in that house still.
You have confirmed?
Yes. And then, so now, here's me on the corridor whilst my father has a house. So for me, like this, free SHS, if they did it like, if you don't want it, you can pay your school fees and all that, and then bring like a scholarship scheme for those who want it or those who need it. So then all this thing is going on, and then you are telling me that your government is good. Nah.
I mean, free SHS wouldn't be the only policy that the government has put in place.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
You still think that they have been terrible in administration?
Yes. If you weigh the like pros and cons, like the good and the bad.
So what are the cons for you?
E-levy.
You hate e-levy?
Yes. Why did you take away the toll taxes? And now they are saying they are bringing it back. You took away the toll taxes and brought e-levy. Now charges are outrageous. You can send like MTN to MTN 35 cedis. The charges are like 1 cedi. Why? And then you're not even seeing what they are using that taxes for. There's e-levy. They are increasing the price of transportation, increasing price of water, like electricity bill. Everything is going up. And you're not seeing any like benefits those taxes are bringing to us. The roads are still bad. Like the hospitals are still bad. The schools are still bad. Electricity, everything is bad. Like there's water outage still happening. 21st century, 2024. How? And then you are taking e-levy and telling me that you are doing it for us. It's not working.
Natasha, he says that the influx of taxes has burdened him one way or the other. What do you have to say to that?
It has burdened everyone, especially.
But don't you think that these taxes were put in place to mitigate whatever conditions that we've had to experience as a result of the COVID?
Accountability. We're not getting that. What are they using the money for? And I think that's what we want, is we want you to be accountable. We want the government to be accountable. So anytime that I pick my phone and then, or my friends, and they're on Twitter or X and they're tweeting something and say, what are you using this for? Why is this price? We don't get accountability that we're looking for. So it's like, it does not make sense.
No sense to you. Let me come to you and find out if you make agree with that. Don't you think that the taxes are being put to good use?
Personally, I don't see it, honestly, because I feel like when we do see that the taxes are being put to good use is when there's going to be a transition of governance. For instance, during December, they'll start building a lot of roads. We'll see a lot of construction. So they'll look like, oh, the government's actually doing something back.
Oh, there was actually a tweet on social media by one influencer who says that people shouldn't be fooled by the road construction ongoing in the election year. Do you think it's just a tactics to score political points?
Yeah, I think so, because it's.
You don't think it is your tax being put to good use?
No, it's actually a propaganda that they're doing or using it for. Because why aren't you building the roads prior to elections or before that? You get, why do you have to wait for elections before you start building roads or constructing roads and all that? So I believe that it's like a political agenda to make them look like, oh, we did this, we did that, but in reality people are waking up, so we are seeing things for the way it is.
So we are in the election year. I mean, December 7 is just a few months away. What are you on the lookout for from the politicians, especially with their manifesto? What do you want to be included in the manifesto that affects you?
Okay, so with respect to the students, especially in the tertiary education.
So you'd focus on the education sector.
Tertiary education, they should focus more on our accommodation. Accommodation crises are too much, they're unbearable. Like, they have to put measures in place. And then I also heard you saying, just to drive a little bit, they building roads. I think it's in their favor because most of the campaigns are done on the roads. So they need to fix the roads well so that when they are passing, they don't get involved in accidents. People don't stop them like, hey, wow, yeah. So
it doesn't benefit you directly.
It doesn't benefit us in any way. Okay. Yeah, because it's all to their benefit. And also for the e-levy, making it a levy will be difficult to engage the youth. So they have to make it electronic, so that they can attack us again. Because they always try to attack us because they don't involve us in the administration. But whenever they want something, they always try to attack us in any ways possible. Yeah.
I see. Now, Dalali, before I even ask you about what will be the topmost issues for you this election, what has been the outstanding thing the government has done for you?
Nothing comes to mind. Nothing at all.
Why is that?
We're seeing rising taxes. It trickles down to everything. Let me give an example. Why am I going to ShopRite to pay for something that's 100 and something cedis and getting a VAT included price of 45 cedis? It makes absolutely no sense. I'm not seeing anything. I don't feel any benefits.
You don't think that in the health sector, education, energy, they have outdone themselves, if I may say that?
I have not seen a single thing.
What about you?
They've done some good things, yes, but
like what?
It will take long before I remember one. Okay, wait. The Ghana card like this they brought, it helps in a way, but then the way with they implemented Ghana card, you can't use your SIM card without Ghana card, and then the queue you have to join to get that Ghana card. It was really bad. Okay. It's still going on. It's really bad.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, if you are rating this government and they've done 2 over 10.
Because of the Ghana card.
Not only Ghana card.
That is the good thing they have done.
Yeah, that's one of the numerous.
One of the rumors, not what you
was the numerous things they've done that it didn't help us. That's 1 in a million of the good things they did for us.
Interesting. Yeah. Janet, what about you? Anything comes to mind when the Akufo-Addo-led administration comes to mind?
Anything good? I think the free SHS actually, because because I think that it helped people who didn't have the opportunity to go to school actually experience it. Even though I feel like, when you start something, it wouldn't be perfect. So obviously it had a bit of hiccups here and there. But in general, I think, it took a lot of, young people off the streets, because there are very few people now on the street that, come and beg and all that. So I feel like that's one good thing. Yeah, that's what I could think of.
So going into this election, what would be the issues that you're going to be looking out for, especially when both candidates mount podiums to read their manifestos?
We don't want fixatious stuff or promises.
That's an example of such a promises.
Okay, I'm not
say something. I'll come to you.
I'm not attacking the MPP governments because I'm MPP. So, but I feel like Bawumia's statement that he made, that when he comes into power, he's going to make people pay for phone. I think he said something about 1 CD a month. Please, we are not children. How are we going to pay? If I go for, let's say, an iPhone that costs 18K plus, I'm going to pay for 18 months. 18,000 months. What? It's not feasible. So it's very, very vexatious. And I think that they should be very real with us, honestly, because when you come up, you want us to vote for you, but try and relate with us. They should look at things on the ground. And politicians, please, I'm begging you, it's not now that you guys are going to start trying to do stuff for the people during your campaign season. You get people pounding fufu, people doing this. I mean, after that you are up and gone. Nobody will see you ever again, until the next election. And it's not fair. I feel like, because in the UK there are prime ministers who literally ride bicycles to the office, or walk to the office and stuff like that. I get that Ghana is relatively safe, but I mean, trust me, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I'll come to Natasha before I come to you. Taj, what are you looking out for?
So,
I want to start by saying minus aura points for any politician that comes in and says something or brings, I bring this, and it's not plausible in the economic, situation that we're in as a country. Like Jeanette said, how am I paying 1 cedi a month for a phone? How long do I have to live? How long? And first of all, how would they know I get 1 cedi a month? I don't know. It just does not make sense. Okay, so I'm looking out for somebody with my best interest at heart. Somebody that's not thinking about their pockets. When they're 60, they're leaving office for somebody to come. Please leave when you're retired. Do not stay. Do not overrun. No, don't overrun your show. That's basically it. Okay. Should have my best interest at heart.
Finally, you give me a typical Gen Z manifesto.
Okay, a typical Gen Z manifesto. I've not really heard one. But
from your point of view.
Okay, so
what would be that ideal manifesto?
Probably be the phone.
Because I'm asking this because you told me earlier that Gen Zs are quite selfish. Mm-hmm. So what are the things that would favor you? What is a Gen Z manifesto for you?
Probably the phones. The phones from the Baumil's policies.
Okay, I get it. But if you are to put in place policies that will favor Gen Zs, what will they be?
Scholarships outside the country. And involving us in governance, not necessarily put us in high positions, but at least we should know from you. So immediately you leave, Gen Zs are replacing you, right? Like they are not giving us way into their governance at all, and also changing the age limits for people to apply for MPs.
So you are also pushing for a constitutional review, okay?
Exactly. And so I think that's basically it.
Well, that's what they've had to say on this Gen Z manifesto, the maiden edition. In fact, they've had lots and lots of opinions to share. But we are done with the conversation. We'll bring you our next episode next week. That does it for the show. I am Tutu Adan. So back to you guys in the studio.
Vanessa Tutu Adanso there with the Gen Z manifesto, letting you know exactly the voices of the Gen Zs, those who are always busy on their phones now, and also their expectations, aspirations going into the elections, all part of our election hub coverage right here, our launch here. And social media has been agog and awash with a lot of comments, and Nana Ama Aqua has joined me with your thoughts on social media. So Nana, what are people saying on social media today?
Well, Joshua, for those that have just joined us, we have officially launched the EIB Election Hub. So make sure you stay tuned to this channel and Star and Agor as well for all your election-related materials. Now, let's go straight to Facebook. We have here Salisu, who spoke based on the video we put from Mahama speaking over the weekend. JM looked into the eyes of Ghanaian youth with no fear of God and told them he was not a magician to get them jobs. DMB for 2024. Talk about your own achievements initiated by you as a former president and stop hiding behind other former presidents' achievements. Then we also have here, if we, the NDC, win the election, the way we will show this country, Ghana. We have been in the house for almost 8 years. The way we hungry, we will chop rough. At least we only have 4 years. Then Chris Love says, the visionary leader, JM. We also have Kwesi, you are going to be history very soon. Nana Yao says, I don't want to talk. Oh, Nana, say something. Then Isaac says, well said, Mr. President. We are waiting for you to come and save this country from Akufo-Addo and his gangs. We move over to Instagram. Kwame says, but Mahama, this is low for him. You can make your point without insult. Then we have here, this is not what we want you to talk about. We want to hear how you are going to create jobs for the youth and why you sold Tema Harbour to a French billionaire. We have Oliver here. Nana Addo and Dr. Baumia, you have a missed call talking about what Mahama was saying. You still want to debate? Anyways, I hope when chairman is re-elected, he won't come and worsen things. Then here, but Mahama, okay, we've read that one. Rob says, very well said. If checks and balances are put into place, parties can't just come into power and have their way by defrauding and embezzling state funds. We also have Answer. Somebody should tell him to say what he's going to do. And this is not a message. And we have, okay, when we go to X, here, Jimmy says, no message. So he keeps telling people what we know already, coupled with insults. No wonder insults are their hallmark, as Rawlings will say. The NPP is a useless government, yet you struggling to beat him in an election. Then we have here, you will earn my respect if you are able to prosecute any government involved in criminal activity in this current administration. The scandals are too many to overlook. Then we have Yao. He still hasn't explained his policy though just throwing jabs and nothing to offer. Marcus says that JM is Ghana's savior. Well, that's what we have for you on social media. Let's hope that we hear more from the political parties so that we can get more information to be able to make a fair vote. My name is Nanama Akwa. Joshua?
Thank you so much for letting us know exactly what people are also saying on social media. It's still the official launch of EIB Election Hub. That's our coverage of the 2024 general elections happening on the 7th of December. But from now till then, we are also helping you to appreciate the journey of the political parties. We'll be also looking at their manifestos. We'll scrutinize all that. We have exciting programming just for you, just to ensure that you are also following the process through to the 7th of December. Now, I'm particularly excited about this interview because, yes, people are talking about presidents. I'm also here with my president. The president of the Ghana Journalists Association has joined me in studio, Albert Kamnajufor. President, how are you doing, sir?
We are alive and kicking.
It's been an amazing journey. I mean, since you took over your presidency, we've seen what has been put in place. One of the tests would be this crucial election 2024. Are you excited about how we are moving so far?
Yes, of course. I'm very excited, and let me start by commending EIB, Team EIB, your management staff, and people like you who have actually been at the front line, who have actually led the charge to this very moment. And I believe that this election is a collective responsibility for all of us in the media, and the robustness and then the proactiveness, the vibrancy of the really be tested. Right. This is the time for the media to show that at least we are indeed the fourth estate of the realm, and we are really, really prepared, because we have, when you look at under the fourth Republican Constitution, the media has contributed in deepening democracy, in ensuring good governance, accountability, and all that. Ghana's media has been seen as the oasis in Africa, and for me, I think that we have to really guard our democracy jealously, guard the peace we are enjoying, and under the multi-party democracy, the media must always be seen as the referee, just as the EC. We must not be seen as taking sides or taking positions. Like, this is the time the objectiveness, the independentness of the media comes to bear. Right. We leave the rest for the political parties to do. And for me, we are working very hard to whip everyone in line, to make sure that our constituents, our people, journalists in this country, media practitioners, all what follow suit. Because this election, after almost, is it 30 years
of our democracy?
Of our democracy. Yeah. This election is a test case. For me, people will say it's a do and die. And for me, I would say that the tension, the euphoria surrounding this election, and then the atmosphere which is being charged at the moment, will even eating up depending on how the media carry our job.
Right.
You understand? We will continue. You see, we are the watchdogs of the people and people's right. And what are their right? The rights of the citizens are two major rights: the civic right and their human right.
Definitely.
And when we read chapter 12 of the Constitution, that actually establishes the media, that actually empowers the media to be independent. That is the freedom and the independence of the media. That talks about the freedom, independence of the media and all that. Mandate us to be the gatekeepers, being the watchdogs. And so, as the watchdogs of the people's right, it is our responsibility to make sure that the people exercise their civic right. And their civic right is the right to vote. And the right to vote is the right to deepen democracy. The right to ensure that we guard our democracy jealously. And it is our also responsibility to inform and educate them to understand what it means to partake in such an ongoing election.
And along that line, what would you say would be the rating of how we've fared so far? We are in the month of July. We have some months more, about 4 or 5 months more to the general elections. When you look at the landscape and how we've discharged our duties, where would you put us?
I wouldn't even say we are in July. We are already in August. In 2 days' time we are August. Like, let me commend the media in Ghana. So far, so good.
Okay.
You see, there is a saying in our local language that if you be a mensa, we still have to. We have been bothered and encountered with a number of unethical and unprofessional comments, remarks by some media practitioners and all that. There has been some recklessness among us and all that. But regardless, in general, I can say that at least we've done 80 to 90% or 80 to 85% better compared to the previous election. Because look, we have 4 or 5 months to go, and you see the atmosphere is not too charged like we all expected. But this election, like
the polarity of the
yes, of course, because we are having a governing ruling party who says, look, we want to break the 8. Like both parties, we've all done 16 years. It's time for us to break the 8. And we have the opposition who say that, look, we have somebody who have been tried and tested, and you would never break the 8. We are making sure that we'll be the first person to go in the position and bring same candidate but so it's very dicey.
The dynamics are
yes. So I believe that for us to guard the peace, for us to ensure that the citizenry and the electorate exercise their civic right, responsibility without fear or favor, without any intimidation or panic, we need to channel out the right of information.
Okay.
The information we put out there, it must be devoid of hate speech, must be devoid of disinformation or misinformation. We see there are clear examples of misinformation happening in our media landscape, in our airspaces. For me, I think that it is a cause for alarm, because you see what we have done. Look, even we gave a statistics as at 2020 or 2016. In July, by this time, we have had over 10 journalists who had already been attacked. As we speak, due to our resolve to end impunity against journalists and our quest to make sure that journalists discharge their duty in a free, safe, secured environment, and based on what the measures we put in place. You remember early this year we have the records to blacklist some ministers of state, members of the ruling government and all that. This has really now calmed the evil ones. Even if they have the intent, they don't know how to execute it. We know that they're still not going to sleep. They are still preparing to come. But we are also awake. We are not sleeping. We've laid our boots very ready, that we make sure that journalists discharge their work diligently.
Yes, and I know that has been high on your agenda.
Of course.
Protection of journalists in their line of duty.
Of course.
And we've seen sanctions here and there. Sometimes even MPs have to feel the brunt. They have to come to the GHOne. We have those conversations. But people have said that getting into the election period is going to get worse. It's going to get thicker in terms of the climate politically. So what measures are we putting in place to ensure that we, like you said, the numbers are dwindling, but we want to see a total eradication of that?
You see, obviously, we wish to eradicate this impunity. But, I can tell you, you don't need a soothsayer to say that you cannot eradicate it completely. Even though it may pop up, it may come up, but we want to at least, we have put in place to the barest minimum or to even mitigate whatever effect that it will have on our work.
Right.
Because we wouldn't want to sit down and then watch Louvre, and then we the same thing happened. It's just a few years ago, Ameswali is an issue which is still an issue of national discussion or national interest. And so we would want to sit down and wait for another Ameswali to happen. And so what the measures we have put in place is that, look, we have cautioned. The blacklisting is there. We have other measures. We have even more biting measures. I wouldn't want to put it here. And that's why we are saying that we have laid our boot. And that what we have realized is that the blacklisting gave us the results we needed.
Okay.
The blacklisting really bites, and it's really giving us the kind of what do you call the expectation, because right now, like I said, journalists go out and they know that, look, even if I'm attacked, I know that we have the block, we have the GJ, we have the other blocks who rise to my what
the defense.
Yes, to my defense and all that. So everybody goes out there with some clear mind, with some kind of a very clear thought, knowing that at least I'm safe.
Okay.
And so the other thing we are going to do, or we have cautioned, that if you're a politician, a group of persons, individuals, and you don't have the temperature or the, let's say, commitment to accommodate journalists during this election period, just stay up. Just stay away from us.
Okay.
Because you see, if you come hostile, we will receive you with hostility. If you attack us, we will bite. And so it is not something like boot for boot, but something like doing everything to ensure that journalists are allowed to discharge their work.
Right.
Because we are there for the citizens. We serve as the bridge or the link between the governed and the governor. Between the government and the citizens, they are willing. And so if anybody wants to break that link, if anybody wants to break that bridge, you understand? To cut off that link,
that crucial role
we play, we will not allow that.
Definitely.
And that is why I'm there.
Right.
An attack on the media is an attack on the GJ.
Okay.
An attack on you. It's an attack on me. An attack on any camera person. An attack on anybody in the fort. It's an attack on me, the GJ president. And so I'll go all out.
Definitely.
And I've served that notice. Really. And there's no way, nobody, no individual, no power can tame us, can gag us. We are ready. And we are saying that it is really having a biting effect, and we will continue with that measure. And like I said, we have other options available to us to explore when the going gets tougher. We are saying that, look, since we started this, as at now, we have recorded 3 major attacks. In the books, 3 major attacks. And you saw that this also affected our ranking on the World Press Freedom Index.
Definitely.
That means that we are doing something right.
Okay.
And so going to the elections, I am saying that all journalists need to know that the GJ, we are preparing, we are training journalists, we are building the capacity of journalists to ensure that at least their mental capabilities are really, you understand?
Prepared. So that when the D-Day comes, even before that, we are prepared.
We are prepared.
And I'm sure that all my colleague journalists listening to me this afternoon, we started from the morning, but we are in the afternoon now, are really energized and poised to go ahead and discharge our duties professionally and ethically. And knowing that in that discharge, when there are eventualities, the GJ is ready
we should be guided by the ethics of the profession.
Definitely.
We have the GJ Code of Ethics, we have the GIBA Code of Conduct. Let's be guided by it.
Okay.
Once we discharge our duty ethically, look, we shouldn't be afraid of anybody. I always say that, look, all of us here will vote. That means that we all have our political party, at least we all have interest, we all have one way or the other. But it's like a referee who is actually officiating a match, a football match, between, let's say, his country or his favorite team, another team. You don't expect him to display that has biasness. You get it? When you are on the field, this time around, is when you're on the field, like a police officer, is when you're on the field professionally. You can go, you can do your whatever political other things behind, but the role we are playing, the citizens looks up to us, the whole country looks up to us. Observers, we have international observers. We have, I know that, I know the EU, European Union have reached out. I know the international observers, ECOWAS, met us last week. There are other bodies who have actually reached out on us to ascertain our preparedness towards the election. We are going to work hand in hand with the Electoral Commission, with the political parties and all other key stakeholders. This is because we have to make sure that we protect institution of states. It is our responsibility, so that no individual, no group of persons can attack and break down institution of state. The media's sense of professionalism must be our personal responsibility. That when you sit there, you know that where your freedom ends, another one's begins. And so, press freedom comes with responsibility. Don't expect to enjoy press freedom and then run away from it. Responsibility. When the responsibility comes, you make sure that you bear it.
And we'll definitely face it. And that's my president, the GJA president, Albert Kwabena. And on that note, the EIB Election Hub is duly launched.
Say inclusive is that your mama can only be president for 4 years, but by the grace of God, Bawumia can be president for 8 years. Do we want it for 8 years or 4 years?
I've heard somebody say that 4 years, if somebody has 8 years, he'll be more responsible and accountable. And if somebody has 4 years, he will not be accountable. I mean, it's the most illogical statement I ever heard.
This election is a straight choice between two people, two Northerners. You have Dr. Bawumia and John Mahama. When we say we want to do something, they always say it is not possible, but it is possible.
You don't go saying, vote for me, and when I come, I will do this. You can do it now.
Mama Mistiano, Namin Chicano, Enko baby, I see a call.
The person himself says he's a driver's mate. He doesn't have a license yet. So he should work and get a license first. And then after he gets a license, he can come and we'll talk.
I have only been vice president. I have not yet been president. But I can tell you that as vice president, I've done more than your mama did as president.
You can fool all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
It's as empty as an empty barrel. When we meet mano a mano.
You say you rationalize taxes. 5 months to an election, you can rationalize this, enough time to rationalize taxes.
I am looking forward to a debate with John Mahama.
How can you compare this useless government that has led Ghana into such crisis to the government of Kwame Nkrumah? Chopper everywhere, Ghanaians are going to go there and send the message of NDC.
do I look?
You look so gorgeous, Zan.